that Winning Time is adapted from.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I don't think the Lakers would pick up somebody like a Pop, because even from the Dr. Buzz time in the Lakers, they have been so insular. And so many people who have important jobs, they really run like a family business. And seeing it at its roots from where Jeannie gets her, learned how to run a team
From her dad.
from her dad, who kept Laker people in the building, but he was keeping good Laker people in the building, like Jerry West, Mitch Kupchak, who learned under Jerry. And Mitch
No,
wasn't bad until the end.
yeah, when he was giving Timothy Mozgov and fucking Luol Deng ridiculous contract, but that's because they couldn't sign anyone. And so, like, but now this is my biggest question, and I know it's like, well, you wouldn't think that he would ever be able to be poached, but did they ever try? Why did they never go after Pat? Pat's a Laker. Pat can do the same thing in LA that he can do in Miami. I think that LA is more appealing than Miami, in my opinion.
I think Pat pissed off.
I think the Lakers are more his like. Well, did Pat's relationship end sourly with the Lakers?
So after
and then who pissed him off? Like who?
He pissed everybody off.
But when he left from the Lakers, he went to the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. That's where he went.
But he
so that's just as like those are like. But I'm just saying, Pat only is in. Think about it. When you look at the triangle of Pat Riley.
Yeah, good
LA,
markets.
New York, Miami.
Yeah, the best three cities in the league.
Literally, definitely the best three markets
to live in.
And one of the best, not just the best in the, because the Lakers are more appealing than Boston. Yeah. Even though Boston's got one more championship, the Lakers are the most appealing thing in the NBA.
Right? Don't nobody want to live in Boston.
Most appealing thing in the NBA. They're more appealing than the Knicks because they're bigger winners. And I think more people would rather live in MSG is better than Staples Center or now Crypto.com Arena. But like outside of that, the Knicks, what do the Knicks have? The Knicks don't have anything on the Lakers.
They have New York. It's just New York, man. But the thing
that's why niggas went to Brooklyn. But
back to Pat, the way he ran that team, he was asked to leave after they got beat in the finals. And they had to scramble to figure out how to get that done. And I don't think he wanted to leave. And so if Pat Riley is like the person that he's portrayed to be in the media and what that book is telling me, he wouldn't go back. Like, I don't think he would want to give them the satisfaction of giving them more opportunities to be great because of how they did him.
I just think that he's one of the people, even though he's probably deemed as untouchable because it's like he damn near is, he's not Mickey Loomis, but like he damn near is like kind of ownership with the Heat.
Mickey Arison. Mickey Arison. Mickey Loomis.
Not Loomis. I'm tripping. But I don't see why he wouldn't be able to be lured away if the Knicks paid Phil $15 a year to be the president. And granted, Phil also had ties to the Knicks, right? Like Phil,
73 champion.
Yeah. He was a player for him, and he's Phil Jackson. I mean, he's the most. He might not be the best NBA coach of all time, but he's certainly the most decorated. So he's more decorated than Auerbach, in my opinion, because he did it in the modern era. Now, granted, he also had Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq to do it, but I'm just saying he still did it. Still to be able to run those talents. It clearly ain't that fucking easy to have that much talent on a team and actually make it look great. Like,
you heard Jerry West talk to JJ Redick. You do not shit on that old era.
I'm not shitting on it. How am I shitting on it?
You're saying that Phil Jackson is a more decorated coach because you're valuing what he did in the modern era more than what happened back in the day.
Less teams. I mean, we do have to look at that. It was still so less competition.
Better talent on those teams, though. With less teams, only the cream of the crop rises.
There's more talent across the NBA now than there was then, and nobody everybody's got to stop acting like that's not the case. Like, I'd have to go back to the 1965 NBA season and look at the worst team in the league and see who the best player was. But the best player on the worst team wasn't doing what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing with the Thunder. So, like, it's just, to me, it's not comparable at the end of the day because it's just different. It's a different league, and everything out here for exposure, to find better talent, international players. The best players in the world weren't necessarily playing in 1965. To me, today they are. Like, the absolute best players are playing today because resources are so much more available.
Absolutely. I'm playing devil's advocate.
So the league is naturally better today.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
And Jerry cannot dispute that, even as a player in that area. It doesn't shit on how good of a player he is. He's the fucking logo. He shouldn't care in reality. But I get it. He's one of the few guys from that era that not only are just alive, but, like, is still involved in the league, and he's kind of got both ends of the story.
But, the NBA, just like a lot of people, they like to look at their era as the greatest era ever. And to act like basketball is maturing like milk and it's not maturing like wine is just stupid.
Like Wilt Chamberlain, like, I bet for Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain was like, that shit was freakish back then. Like, and I'm sure that even by today's standards, Wilt Chamberlain was a freak athlete. I imagine so. Like, I imagine that. First of all, I don't care who he played against. To score 100 points in a game and then to get 30-something of them on free throws and you're a 50% free throw shooter in the league is still impressive. Because at the end of the day, he still had to make those free throws. And so, like, it's impressive. But even more of a reason why, similarly to how when we play that Falcon, which we'll get to that a little bit later, when we play the Falcons thing, it's the same thing with Kobe Bryant. For me, I beat on that same drum. Him scoring 81 points in a modern-day NBA game is fucking insane. When you actually really think about that. He was 19 points shy, but when you really think about what Kobe did that night, most guys, even if they wanted to, couldn't do it. It doesn't matter how you set it up. It's really hard to do that. And then win the game. They won that game by, like, they won convincingly. It wasn't they checked him out with, like, the last minute, 2 minutes.
Well, the thing is, man, when you're going for 80, you know how many shots you got to take? Like, the level of fatigue that's going to come in from just taking those shots. You know what I mean? Even his last game, he shot like 60 times for 62. When you're putting up that many shots and you're not getting totally fatigued, it speaks to just, again, with Kobe's game, it speaks to, it's more impressive to me than Wilt's 100, I think. Especially with Kobe being a perimeter player. But I say that, but 100, I mean, that's 100, that's Lisa Leslie high school stuff, Cheryl Thompson high school stuff, But we weren't going to open with basketball, but it was such a good conversation we had going. Are you pulling up the number of shots?
No, I had business email. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I figured you were doing business, but Kyler Murray recently just signed a new contract with the Cardinals. And I understand why they paid him. I would not have wanted to pay Kyler Murray to be a top paid quarterback in the league, but it's not my money, and I'm not the person on the hot seat trying to keep a job. So I get it. He makes them better than they have been. They're a playoffs team. I don't really think they're a contender. And he shows some qualities that I think are holding them back and are going to continue to hold them back. And I think those qualities have been made very apparent just from some of the comments from, Carson Palmer's brother, one of the big quarterback coaches, talked about, he has some qualities that I would not teach the quarterbacks that I train to have. I mean, they work for him, but I would not teach those qualities. Rumors are he's there when he's supposed to be there, and he's gone when he's supposed to be gone, but he's not burning the midnight oil with the team. Larry Fitzgerald talked about how they kind of just turned the team over to him without making him earn it. And then the additions of the AJ Green and the JJ Watt to just have veteran leadership in the locker room speaks
to replace Larry.
Right. It speaks to the lack of leadership from Kyler Murray. But I think one of the most eye-opening things is that
ownership to me.
They had a clause in his contract which could void his guarantees if he's not doing 4 hours extra film work at home on his own, uninterrupted, and they listed like no Call of Duty in there, which tells me this motherfucker's playing Call of Duty when he gets off. And he just got the film running. He ain't running nothing back. He ain't doing anything to
bring Marcus Russell 2.0 when it comes to the film study.
Low key, he is, and check this out, because Kyler talked about how he watches his film, but he's not going to be watching like obsessively watching film because he has this innate ability to see things before they happen. So he lives off of that. And I listened to Jamarcus Russell on the pivot, and he talked about like, yeah, I watched my film. I knew what was going on, but like football player, man, I'm going to go out there and play, make stuff happen. And granted, Jamarcus Russell did not produce at the level that Kyler Murray has so far. I mean, he was in Oakland, and it was a terrible place to be. But I think it's coming from the same that I'm so good that
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because the film needs to watch me. I don't need to watch the film. And I think that's the reason why Kyler Murray tails off at the end of the year, and he was a no-show in the playoffs.
I think he just wasn't good enough. That's really what it is. I mean, what were they? The Cardinals were 2-0, 2-1 without him. Colt McCoy definitely won 2 games because I remember betting on that stuff. He won 2 games without them that season last year, and I didn't understand. You know, that Rams game, it was weird too. It was really weird. It was a Monday night playoff game, so that was like the first time ever that's happened. But it was a Monday night playoff game. No. Was this? Yeah, this was this past year.
Yeah, when he didn't run at all.
It was a Monday night playoff game, and like I don't know, the Rams were like a 2.5 point favorite. That is weird. I didn't know. I don't know why that was the case, but it was easy for me to just bet on the Rams spread because I was just thinking about it. I was just like, what? Like the best defensive player certainly of this generation, but definitely maybe ever, like like this freak on the team, then Von Miller, a Super Bowl MVP, and then
Leonard Floyd,
Matt Stafford, who that would be the only reason why the unproven was the quarterback. And even with him, we know this, that he's typically been pretty good. It just, I mean, he was always on really bad teams, so we didn't know. It was only his 3rd playoff game, maybe second
or third, yeah.
And so, like, I mean, it was just a weird thing. But to get more in depth with the Kyler thing, they just, to me, they were always paper champions when they started 8-0, whatever it was. They were 9-1. It was something to start the season. I thought that it was a product of winning tough games, but also easy schedule as well. Like, I mean, it's not like they had really played anyone to begin with up till that point. And, you know, I think with a guy like Kyler, we both agreed that we're not going to get into Kyler's size like that. But at the end of the day, he's too small. And we know that he's somebody that's already an indecisive guy. I mean, he was the 8th, he was top 10 pick or whatever for the MLB draft to the A's, and he could have very easily played baseball instead. And that was what he planned on doing, and that's not what he ended up doing. So clearly, you know, he's indecisive. And for what it's worth, even after playing football all these years, I still bet that he could just go and play baseball if he wanted. So
I don't think he'd go play baseball, but I could see him just – I could just see him.
It's an option. It is an option.
I could just see him not playing football anymore. Like nothing about him tells me that he loves football. And I don't think every person in the NFL has to love football, because if you're just extremely talented at something and it pays your bills and it gives you more money than anything else would, why not do it for a little while? But if he retired like at 18 years, would you be shocked? Like, he's made his few hundred million and he just says, I'm good.
Well, now he can after this first contract, because he's probably, what, 26, 27?
He's probably 20, maybe 25, 26.
He's been in the league 4 years. He's probably 21, 22.
Nah, he's only been 3. That's the thing. They signed him a year early. They didn't have to do shit.
You sure? I thought this was the 5th-year option year.
Or he's 24. No, he's only after year 3.
No, so he could legitimately play out. Well, that means he's still under contract for his first overall pick deal. Plus, they never got to the point of which that's what he wanted to avoid. He wanted to avoid even playing on a 5th-year option type thing. So that means he's got one more year, and then the contract begins.
Did you just drool?
I did. Hey, this whistle pig, I wish that we could get some placement on this and they pay us, but hey, you'll drool over this pig.
That's what she said. But no, man, I just think when you put that type of clause in someone's contract and you know it's going to get out because the contracts go to the Players Association and they have to vote on it to make sure, it's good. It just shows me how little respect you have for this human being and his work ethic. And I think you wanted to put it on Front Street that, like, hey, we're paying him because what are our options? But he ain't committed. And I think Kime probably had that put in there so that when he gets canned in 2 years and they're like, why did you give Kyler that god-awful deal? He's like, look, man, owner was on my back. I knew he was talented but not committed. But what other option did I have? It's not that I don't know football and I don't have a clear direction for a franchise. I just have to play the cards that I was dealt. But look at the protections I put in for the franchise. Because, what happens? Let's do the sliding doors thing, right? The Bill Simmons shit, right? What happens if he's not watching film and they actually void his contract or void his guarantees?
Well, the question is, how are they going to find out that he's not watching film?
So apparently, I was listening to Shannon Sharp talk about
it on a certain, because this is why I brought up too, before you get into the Shannon Sharp aspect of it. This is why I brought up Jamarcus Russell. They gave him tape, and the story is that he got that tape. They asked him, did you watch? He said, yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was a blank tape. So, I'm just curious as to how are they going to monitor that, and even if it's something monitored to where through the TV that they give him or whatever to see, he could turn that on and just go to take a nap if he really wanted. So is it mandatory within team facility with the coach? What makes this?
So what Shannon was saying is the way the tablets are set up, they can see how you're watching the film, right? So what they think Kyler was doing
for footage,
huh?
So it's like FaceTime for footage.
Not that they can see you on it, but they can see if you watched it just straight through, or if you went back, rewatch a couple.
He can rewind. There's a way to get around that.
No, there's definitely a way to get around it, but what it's saying is this man was. What I think was happening is this man was going home, turning on the film, logging into Call of Duty. And then they could see his gamer tag on. They can see his gamer tag online during the same hours that his film was playing, and he didn't rewind that. They go, bruh, he just ran it through. And then in the meeting, they were probably asking him certain questions, and he didn't have the right answer. Because you just don't put that clause, huh?
You can watch film and not have the right answer. You might not just get it.
Plausible deniability, yeah.
But it just happens in general. Some people just don't get it. He might be a God-gifted athlete, just like any of us, we could go into a class at Morehouse College, for instance,
Morehouse,
and not necessarily have the right answer, but we studied. So, like for me, I just don't think that that's a good way to doing that. I get it; it's a part of the contract, weird clause, but at the same time, if it's not required for him to do it X amount of days at the team facility with the coach, then what difference does it make?
It probably doesn't. But what do you think? Do you think this is a slight on black quarterbacks? And
no, I think it's a slight at him. I don't, because they wouldn't put this shit in anyone else's contract. I think that the Broncos don't give a fuck. They know what they're getting with Russell. What it is the Cardinals don't know what they're really getting with him because it's only been 3 years, like we are.
But they're giving him $230 million,
and that's their fault.
And he's not going to play the last 2 years. He's going to renegotiate.
Tell you, this might be a hot take. They could have traded him to Houston or wherever, and they could have got Jimmy G, and I bet they'd win the same amount of games. You don't think Jimmy G, who has a career win percentage of 70%, over 70%, will be able to go there? They won 10 or 11, they won 11 games. They won 11-6. You don't think that he can go there with that talent and that team and win 11, 10 games? I do.
Honestly,
I've done it on other teams. I mean, how much more talented are the 49ers truly than the Cardinals?
I just think they are much better coached.
Okay, and I feel that too. But Cliff, even for instance, now he runs we don't even know because Kyler's been his only quarterback. And that's why they're tied together. Once that shit fails, they're all out the door.
Yeah, Cliff, Common, Kyler. KKK is out of here.
Yeah.
Eradicating racism.
Yeah.
That's a joke, guys.
We talked about, or LeBron had talked about it. Because I think I agreed. I thought Boston's the most racist place. I'll tell you, underrated racist. Arizona.
Oh,
very
yeah.
Racist. Very racist.
They have a lot of Southern policies out there.
Southern policy, and then
the
Hispanics are like Hispanic racists, if that makes any sense.
What you mean, like they don't like other people or they don't like each other?
They want to be white. So whatever the white.
Oh, you're talking about those type of Hispanics, the ones who like have country accents and like will start.
They can keep their accent. They just might file. They just like that.
And they start talking to you about like America.
Republican, because like that is just not a fair way of talking about people. But majority would vote Republican.
They're right? The ultra conservatives that like get into law enforcement and join the military, and they like love America more than their home.
Yeah,
they love America more than their home country, and you'd be confused. Like
they love America more than their home country, and they're damn near white.
Bruh, I worked with someone like that, and she used to complain about how she would complain about minority issues and pretty much saying that they didn't exist. And I go, maybe you don't experience this, because she was a very attractive lady, into her fitness too. So I'm like, maybe because of this misogynistic world we live in, that you haven't had to deal with some of the inequalities in society that others have had to deal with. But you sound nuts right now. Like your stances would make sense if you were white. But given what you look like and what I assume, and maybe I'm wrong for assuming, but what I assume some of your lived experience has been, you shouldn't be thinking this way. Or I wouldn't think that you would think this way. I don't care how you think.
How would you think that person would get to that point of thinking that way? Like what was the turning point for you will be really the question to ask. Like, where did it begin? Because I know it didn't start that way. So where did this begin?
Maybe because she was a hard worker and she's been successful. And because she's a hard worker and she's successful, she thinks that if you work hard, you will be successful. And I think that people...
I think that is true, though.
I think it's true.
It doesn't mean if you work hard just at any job. it means that you've got true goals and aspirations. I'm a firm believer, and let me tell you why. And I won't
Hold on, let me finish the point because I know where you're going. But I believe that if you work hard, you can be successful. I don't think if you work hard, you will be successful. And I think that some people who are talented and work hard, they just think it's their hard work that got them there. And it's like, no, you're talented. This person here is working hard. The odds are against them, and they're not talented.
And in some cases too, it's the favored theory, right? Like this could go under, Christianity or whatever you believe in, and believing in God and whatever it is. My dad is a huge believer in God. And this is what I was going to bring up, and I'll be very brief on this. But the thing is, even for me, my dad is the hardest working person I know. And he graduated from Morehouse too, right? He went to the same school I went to. He had a kinesiology degree, and he's been able to build something incredible. And but the thing is that I know that man, when I was a kid, was waking up, at 4:00, and I didn't see him until 8. And so he not only laid it all out there physically, but he is somebody too that holistically is a good guy. There's a lot of things that went into the factors of it. And maybe it worked out in the time period that he was doing it too. The fact that it was the 80s and the 90s when he was, collecting, his bones and getting this stuff accomplished. But he's an example. That's why I believe hard work does work, because I don't know a harder worker than my dad. I really don't. I've never seen anyone physically put in the work the way that my dad does. And for someone to reap the benefits of it. So I think that hard work, it does pay off. It really does. And it's so funny. Any employee of ours, I talk about this to them. I literally tell them, I talk about my dad because he's just the ultimate example. He worked in the same industry and what he did. And it just, not everybody can be him. There's somebody like him that's better than him that accomplished more doing the same thing potentially. I don't know. But what I do know is what he did. And the thing is that I got to see it firsthand or not see it firsthand, because if he's waking up and he's at work at 4 a.m. and he's coming home at 8, I think that hard work it's a good place to start.
I do.
If you want to do.
I do too. I don't want anyone to think that I don't think hard work is not.
It just doesn't mean that you will get the advance to where whatever it is you're thinking you want to achieve. I don't think, but you know what? The best thing I could tell to anyone in a job or a situation where it starts really low is to not have an expectation at all. I don't think anyone should go working at McDonald's with the expectation of one day they'll own multiple McDonald's. If you're 16, don't go in with that expectation. You don't know where your life's going to go. Nobody knows. We don't know. Now, if that's your dream or your aspiration, follow through, do it.
Right.
Do it and do whatever it takes to get to that point. But at the same time, if you just are hoping to work hard and to just get results, there's got to be some direction to it. And I think that even with him, I don't even think that was his. Matter of fact, I know it isn't. My mom is the one that egged my dad on to just start working as a contractor and doing it. And then from there, because he knew how to do the work and he knew people in the circles, he was able to prove that he could bring guys on with them, train them himself, and do this stuff and be able to do it. Even today, I know how to do that work. I don't do it. I don't do it. I know how to do it though. The knowledge has been passed down. It'd be like somebody if we owned a barbecue, a fucking rib shack or something. There's a certain way you got to barbecue stuff, and then to make it taste like your restaurant's version of it. Right. It makes it different from anyone else. Anyone can throw meat on the grill and season it, but what makes the best barbecue place successful? Whether they spritz it, however they do it, there's a recipe to it, and there's a certain way to do even what I do.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree that hard work is probably at least 50% of the pie.
Easy, maybe more,
but opportunities, relationships, timing, skills, those are all part of the pie that I think sometimes, especially when we're having these conversations, the bigger picture conversations of in America, if you work hard, you can be successful. But the reason why you're not successful is because you're not working hard. It's more nuanced than that. Because guess what? You and I, at one point in our life, wanted to be professional athletes. I don't care what anybody says. If you played high school sports, you wanted to play pro.
For sure.
And
no doubt.
Maybe we didn't work hard enough. Maybe we didn't get the right opportunities, or maybe we just weren't good enough. It could be a combination of all of that stuff, right? Because we're both tall enough, long enough, to have played the professional sports that we played best in high school. Like we are big enough.
Wish I was a better dribbler.
Boom. You know what I mean? Like
it had to have been a point guard. Like there was
there was a skill breakdown that was like, hey, yeah, man, I can keep working hard, but there's a reason why Shaq can't shoot free throws. You know what I mean?
Because your ass needs to be working on the block, and you need to make sure that everything you do on that block is unstoppable. We'll put the rest together later because physically you've got the physique.
Let me tell you, I played football with this kid, probably the hardest worker on the team. Didn't miss a practice, scout team, everything. Perfect. Motivated, hard charger. Played football for 4 years of high school, probably did not play 4 plays. You know why? He was small and he wasn't good. No matter how hard he worked, that kid wasn't seeing nobody's field. He probably couldn't have dominated middle school football as a senior in high school. I was $145, $150 tops. If we were doing tackling drills in practice, I'm running him over, slap over. I was a skinny corner. What the hell am I running over? Him. Wasn't good enough. Sometimes.
And you want to know what? But what stuck out for him to what you're talking about, hardest worker, as soon as you ran over him, you know what he did?
Got back up.
Hell yeah. And he was like, next.
Yeah.
And that demeanor will get you far.
Yes, that demeanor will get you far.
It might not get you to the top or the top of what everybody else's perspective is.
It gets you respect. It
might get you to exactly where you want to be.
It gets you respect.
Respect, and then just more importantly, bro, that's a good attitude to have going into any field, whether it's sports or not. Like,
what Russell Westbrook, that never say die attitude. What made Kobe so great was
I would say I think that he was gifted like that, but like I agree. I think that is such a reason why anyone would even dare say that he's the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah, dare to be wrong, but yeah, that's it.
It's because of everything that wasn't as physically gifted as he was. Everything outside of how physically gifted he was is what really made him a GOAT.
Kobe had the work ethic of a guy trying to make the team.
Of a guy that didn't make the team.
He was
of a guy that didn't make varsity trying to make JV, and they still not acting like they want to put him on JV.
What's that guy's name? Dang. The G League guy for the Lakers who's like 35.
The old guy.
Andre something. Ingram. Yeah, Andre Ingram. Yeah. Kobe was working hard, grinding like him, but he was as talented as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to, and I'll go out on a limb and say, you know what? Kobe had a much better work ethic than Michael Jordan. MJ put in his time.
Clause. Jordan had that clause though, the love of the game clause, which was a unique clause too in a contract. Think about that. That love of the game clause for him, because they couldn't just let guys just play basketball outside of.
If you're good, you can
anywhere against anyone at any time.
Yeah, because he's Michael Jordan. You saw what they was doing at Space Jam,
right? Now, and this is why even with the LeBron thing, and I think LeBron loves basketball. We know LeBron loves basketball. He does want to be the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he is. But I don't think nobody wanted it more than Kobe. I think Kobe wanted that shit more than anyone. Based on just, I don't know because I don't know these guys. But what I do know is what I saw and who proved it more. I think Kobe was working harder than Bron.
I think he was.
I saw improvements in Bron's game every year of his career.
I think
one thing I've always respected about LeBron. LeBron is somebody that he might be the most physically gifted athlete. Fuck NBA.
I think he's the most physically
gifted athlete of all time. And I saw improvement in his game every single year of his career. He never really became a great free throw shooter.
That's the only hole in his game now.
3-point shooting, he became a much better 3-point shooter. Like now, why would you leave LeBron James open for a three? You used to could do that. Like you can't do that no more.
You're better off fouling LeBron to shoot 3 free throws than
to let him just go to the hole.
Or no, let him shoot the 3. Like you're better off fouling him at the 3 than just letting him shoot the 3.
He gonna give you at least 2 though.
Yeah.
So I don't know about fouling because he might miss the 3. That's the point. He'll miss the 3, but he'll make 2 free throws. So you're just giving him 2. At that point, just let him go to the hole and at least make him think about it. But 3 free throws, he gonna give you 2. I think he'll give you 2 at least, and he might hit all 3.
He might.
But that the hard work aspect of it, I guess is what we're kind of getting at with it, is that a guy like Bron, I think LeBron is Mets are cooking the Yankees. But I think Bron is great too. Like I do. I said what I said earlier. They said that all he has to do is average basically 17 points a game this season. He's going to pass Kareem. And so he will pass. We know he's going to pass him. But the thing is that that doesn't solidify him being the best player of all time, in my opinion. I think
Jimmy Butler, he got paid for that. He just posted like some products on his Instagram for an ad. It looks real zesty though.
I figured as much.
Did you see Nick Wright's top 50 players of the last 50 years?
Nick Wright. No, I didn't see it.
So I'm just gonna give you his top 10. Steph 10, Shaq 9, Hakeem 8.
Steph 10, Shaq 9,
Hakeem 8, Larry Bird 7, Kobe 6, Duncan 5, Magic 4, MJ 3, Kareem 2, LeBron 1.
Nothing has convinced me that he's past Michael Jordan. And that's just my opinion. And I didn't see Jordan even play like that. I just think that just on paper, I don't think that anything has convinced me that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan.
He has Luka number 20.
He has more All-Star, more All-NBA. He's played longer. Jordan, people forget. You realize Jordan only played 15 years?
Yeah.
And
we only count 13 of them.
And he's still, and he's right. And it's really only 13. And he's played, and he.
Hold on. Luka is number 20 on his list. Throw it away.
That's the issue.
Huh?
I mean, I said that's an issue.
Throw it away.
Yeah, throw it away.
Luka 30. What the hell has Luka done to be 30? Score 30 a game and lose in the playoffs?
Luka hasn't done anything to be 30. And I think Luka's special.
I do too.
I think he's special.
I think he's going to be an all-timer. Not an all-timer that I think he's going to be an all-timer by NBA standards, but I'm going to remember him. I think I'm going to remember Luka like people who watch Karl Malone remember Karl Malone. The counting stats. Huh?
I said Karl Malone was good.
Yeah, the counting stats look better than the results at the end of the season.
Karl Malone?
But Karl Malone, he had some off the field issues that were way more problematic than anything he did on the
It doesn't
field.
get talked about.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm just saying, Jordan's fourth all time in scoring, and he only played 15 years, and 13 of them were with the Bulls. So,
well, shit, he averaged as a career 30 a game.
But that's why I said LeBron is lay. What did I say? I said he's lay longevity go for sure. I think in the NBA, nobody's had the longevity of LeBron James.
But I think
including Kareem, because Kareem, that's the reason why Kareem's the all-time leading scorer. Kareem pretty much averaged. I think in his last season he averaged 18 a game. So like
Kareem, no. He averaged like 14. That man was out there collecting a check.
And how many rebounds though?
Probably like 5.
And how long did Kareem play? Kareem played like 19
years,
seasons,
I believe.
See.
Was it 19 or 20?
He played from 69 to 89. He played 20 seasons in the NBA.
I know he was 41 when he retired.
That's what I'm saying. Kareem like played for forever. He played for forever. His last season here, I got it pulled up. You're right. He averaged 10 a game his last season.
10?
Season before that, he averaged 15 and 6, which is pretty. I mean, he was clearly on his last legs. And then the year before that was the 18 and 7. So
yeah, that's still bad for him.
So he won a championship that 15 and 6 year, and then his last year they lost to Zeke. They lost to the Pistons.
Yeah, swept.
10 and 5 was what he averaged.
5. 14 maybe.
10 and 5. But he's also a 25 and 11 career guy. So
no, yeah, like
20 years.
No, his numbers were great until they weren't. It's going to be interesting to see what LeBron looks like when that happens. You want to get back to football? Or you want to keep talking basketball?
Let's just switch over to football because I'm trying to think where we go even with the basketball.
Is BG free?
That ain't basketball. That's politics. Let's get to football. That ain't basketball. Come on, man. That ain't basketball. You know that too. That's not basketball.
I mean, they said Mark Cuban was thinking about bringing her into the fold. And she could have got
Let's get to the football, man.
I'm bringing up Mike Sando's quarterback tiers. So Mike Sando, no, bro, why are you not letting me read it now? I don't subscribe to the Athletic anymore. Let me see if I can get the tiers real quick. So yeah, Mike Sando put out his quarterback tiers, and he does it every year. And he had 50 NFL people, coaches, executives, GMs, talent evaluators, and so forth. Vote, and that's where they come up. So each tier has a definition. Tier 1 are quarterbacks who can carry their team each week. In other words, the team wins because of him. Ultimately, he has no real holes in his game. So the tier 1 selections were Aaron Rodgers, who was unanimous.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Tom Brady.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
Okay.
Justin Herbert. And Joe Burrow.
I don't think so if Jimmy G, because he's just a whipping boy these days, and he's the only guy that isn't on a team that he's going to be a star, but he's clearly proven to win games. How many games did the Chargers win with Jimmy G? The Chargers won they were 9-8 last year. So how many games did they win with Jimmy G last year? I bet they win about 9 games. I'm not saying that he's not. I just don't understand why the dick sucking is so elaborate.
Right. I think he is a tier 1 talent who has not proven it on the field yet. He's Luka.
Luka even at least went to the
finally,
and then was going to the playoff. This guy hadn't played in the playoff.
Yeah,
and granted, he's only 2 years in. But why are we sucking this man off like this? Like it was one thing to suck Pat Mahomes off in his first year as a starter. He threw 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, and they went to the Super Bowl.
No, it was AFC Championship.
And they lost because D Ford, who got released today. I hope the Falcons are inquiring at least because he jumped off sides. They would have beat Brady too, and they probably would have won the Super Bowl that year as well. They would have been a rematch of that Monday night game with the Rams. They probably would have won.
Much better TV games than that fucking Super Bowl we watched because it was terrible.
Yeah, because it was here. Yeah, and so But I'm just saying, that's the one person I disagree with. I just can't stop putting him in tier one with everyone that is a proven tier one. He's in the unproven tier two guys. Even if you want to put him there, I'm sorry. Like
Kyler Murray has more playoff games than he does.
Exactly.
Derek Carr has more playoff games than he does.
And more, well, he didn't win one, but yes. Dak.
Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Derek Carr beat him to get into the playoffs.
Question. Dak Prescott on the Chargers.
I feel like they make the playoffs.
Me too.
And I feel like Dak's numbers.
Points. It's like
I feel like Dak's numbers aren't as.
Do I think that Justin Herbert has the ceiling higher than Dak? Of course. Based on what we've seen, yeah, I do. But like, I bet Dak Prescott gets him to the playoffs, even in year two of Dak. Year two Dak in Dallas gets year two.
Chargers. That roster is play. Because think about that roster. Austin Eckler is a top running back in the league.
He is top 2, top 3 multi-purpose back.
Multi-purpose.
Yep.
You got Keenan Allen, who is in that top 8 conversation.
Top 20. Well, him and Mike Williams are both top 20 wide receivers today.
Right. So
2 top 20 receivers, even if they're both in the teens.
Right, but
I'm talking on a bad list of wide receiver rankings. 2 top 20 receivers.
So you have tier 1, tier 2 weapons.
You've got a top 3 pass rusher.
Yeah. Derwin James. Yeah, Derwin James.
Derwin James hasn't he hasn't been healthy. You had J.C. Jackson before, or no, they got J.C. Jackson now.
Yeah. If they don't make the playoffs this year, he has to go to tier 2.
I don't think making the playoffs is good enough. They honestly need to win the division.
They need to make a run.
Especially with Tyreek Hill out of Kansas City.
So,
and I picked them to win the division. I did. I think that they're aligned, especially with getting Khalil Mack. They are aligned to be the best team in that division. They should be.
They got
even with Kansas City's experience and Patrick Mahomes, they are better than them, top to bottom. If he's as good as he is, because clearly, if he's in the same tier as Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, it might not be a wash, but it shouldn't be that big of a difference.
Who am I missing in that division? Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers.
We went through this list already.
Who's in that division? Raiders, Chiefs,
Broncos, Russ.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And they're going to be better because they have Russ. They're better. And they were a 7-10, 8-9 team last year. They were
so let's go.
So they're at least 9-8. That's a 9-8 team of Russ.
Talking about Russ, let's go to tier 2. You got Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, and Matt Ryan.
Take Kyler Murray out. I'm okay with Matt being there. And honestly, I'd replace Kyler probably.
Well, wait till we get to tier 2.
I will.
Tier 3.
3.
Do you think Deshaun Watson should have fallen out of tier 1 because he didn't play last year?
No, because we know who he is.
Do you think Lamar Jackson is a tier 1 quarterback?
No, I think he's tier 2.
All right, so let me define tier 2 for you. Tier 2 included quarterbacks who can carry their team, but not as consistently as quarterbacks in tier 1. That said, each of these quarterbacks possesses other qualities that are special enough to elevate them above tier 3. I think Matt Stafford is the quintessential tier 2 quarterback. And I think last year proved
he's younger than Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan was always considered the quintessential tier 2 guy.
Yes. And you know what? And you can parallel those two with each other, right? Because Matthew Stafford showed us once he had a good play caller, a good defense, a good supporting cast around him, he is capable of winning a Super Bowl and putting up big numbers.
And that's the key part. Actually putting up the numbers to go with it.
Right. But without that,
some guys might not put up the big numbers but win the Super Bowl but still have that support. And I think that's where the difference comes in. Like with Matt Ryan, and I guess it's because we're local and we grew up watching this guy every Sunday. We're fans of the team. I don't even consider it a biasness, but subjectively, I always thought that Matt Ryan didn't get his due credit. Now, people in Detroit might have felt the same way about Matt Stafford. Now, Matt Stafford's he went to UGA. I mean, so we knew Matt. I mean, we've seen Matt Stafford kind of from the get-go.
Yeah, and he was what he's been now. He's been highly talented,
consistent,
and highly disappointing.
I don't think that exactly but that's the issue. There are guys that are winners. There are guys that are not. And regardless of what everyone wants to think about somebody like Matt Ryan, him versus Matt Stafford, this is the difference. Matt Ryan still got the job done even when the teams weren't as talented, I thought.
Bro.
And so, like, I think that the only thing that Matt Stafford didn't have, because he had Megatron, so that cancels out any Julio, Matt Ryan, or before Julio got here, I guess Roddy White, or Tony Gonzalez, however you want to do it, his top target. I think it cancels out the argument of the receiver thing. I think Matt Stafford always had a worse run game. I just think that Detroit just, for whatever reason, they just could never run the ball. I mean, they did Reggie Bush, Joik Bell. You could run through a lot of the guys in Detroit. But I would say defensively, they were really about the same. I mean, if not, maybe Detroit might even be better.
Matt Ryan, and I was listening to Mike Sando talk about
this. We were in a hard division, too, if you want to be real. I mean, I know Stafford, when he first got in the league, Brett was at the very end in Minnesota. Aaron Rodgers just had won his first Super Bowl when and he hadn't done anything since then from a championship standpoint. No. I think that we were always in a hard division. Like, the Saints were always really good. Carolina had its moments. And Tampa was always the bottom dweller.
And they're back
but even
now.
On the end of the Matt Ryan era here, I mean, Tampa's the best team. So, like,
yeah. But the thing is, Matt Ryan was in a bad market. Atlanta is a bad sports market. Atlanta's a great national market to be an athlete.
For stars. If
stars
here, it'd be great.
You got to be flashy, and honestly, you got to be a good old boy or you got to be black. And Matt Ryan is a Philly guy. He's not a good old country boy, and he's not a razzle and dazzle flashy black guy. So unfortunately for him, the city just doesn't embrace him the same way that we embrace Dansby. Like, we love Dansby.
And the issue is too, he followed up Michael Vick. That's always been something, for whatever reason, haunted this man's career.
Yeah, he wasn't welcome.
It was always replace a guy that never even did anything here legitimately. All he did was bring national eyeballs here. And
think about this.
And he fit the culture. Like, but outside of that, what did Michael Vick never did?
NFC Championship.
I'm not going to say he never did anything.
Yeah, he beat Favre and Lambeau for the first time.
Outside of the national attention and his style of play, what did he really do here? We went to one NFC championship. He beat Green Bay that year, which I'll never forget. That's one of my favorite Falcon memories of all time.
You know your folk be staying down on the road, man.
At first, I was figuring if he had got here, because he's staying the night here, I thought that we were going to be able to really do that show instead tonight, more than anything, because he was here.
Oh, shit, that is right. But here's what he did. He made single game tickets sell out in an hour. You didn't feel this pain because you're a season ticket holder, but as a kid who grew up going to one game a year, we were fortunate because we started going to games before Michael Vick got drafted. So because we went to a game the year before, we would be able to buy tickets before they were released to the public.
Well, we're talking 2000. I mean, like,
talk about the Ticketmaster days where you had to like buy your tickets over the phone.
We're a scalper in person on the street right there on Northside Drive.
It's crazy how scalping is now legal, and Ticketmaster makes money off of scalping if you do it through them.
It's all virtual. It's all electronic. It's all electronic scalping. Like,
yeah, like there's
no such thing as in-person scalping.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I don't play. If I miss a game, My goal is not to sell through the ticket exchange.
Well, how are you gonna sell?
I want to find somebody that I know who wants to go to the game and get a
sell
them to the price that the ticket exchange is asking for, so I can just keep my profit.
I'm with you.
And then just email them the ticket.
We did that for the Georgia-Alabama SEC championship game. It was in the suite at the Georgia Dome. This was the Aaron Murray game, the game where the ball was caught there and they couldn't get up in time to snap it on the 5. About the same place where the Falcons were against the 49ers that year.
Yeah.
It was the same year as 2012. We put them up on Craigslist because they were physical tickets then, though.
Yeah.
But basically, we made the money off of them. But some white UGA guys, they bought it. We had 4 or 5 tickets, and they met at in the parking lot of the West End Mall. And we sold those tickets to them.
They came to the West End Mall.
I wanted to go to that game too. Literally every Alabama Georgia game, because there's only been 3.
Didn't we tailgate that?
No, not the LSU.
No, we did LSU. Yeah, that's right.
That was the year before. And literally every Alabama Georgia game, I've sold our tickets. It never fails. Because that is like the quintessential. I've never seen Alabama and Georgia play in person. And they played 3 times here. That SEC championship, the SEC championship this past year, and then the national championship. I've sold every ticket to those.
I gotta get to a Georgia.
I've seen Florida and Bama play. I've seen LSU play. I've seen a ton of SEC championships, but I've never seen Georgia play in the SEC championship against Alabama here.
Question. Is Russell Wilson tier 2?
Yes.
I think he's tier 2 because I think
tier 1.
Huh?
He might be tier 1.
I don't think so.
I think this year will prove more if he's tier 1. Last year was his first losing season ever.
I think Russell Wilson
for 10 years.
I think we're gonna see why.
Even if he wasn't the product of them winning it.
I think we're gonna see why Pete Carroll liked to run the ball. Derek Carr, Colin Cowherd's been on this Derek Carr bandwagon because
you had Carr on. He was in tier 2.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it. He's had no help by his defense. Like, I'm looking at his stats. Ew. I
don't know if he's tier 2.
I don't like 2015 is his only 30 touchdown season.
There should really, that tier, like those first 2 tiers should be broken down into true tier 1, meddling between 1, 2, tier 2, meddling between tier 2, 3. Like that's really how it should be broke down.
Derek Carr,
but he had Matt Ryan at the end of tier 2, correct?
Yeah. Carr before it.
Now, do you think that's a product, and we're on Derek Carr, but do you think that the Matt Ryan take is, if he's at the end of tier 2, that it's more of a because of who he potentially is today as opposed to just in general who
he is today? But I think that Matt Ryan will be where he was borderline tier 2 last year. I think that when they see how bad we are,
we are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
And we see the improvement in Indy, he's going to be a solid tier 2 guy.
No hot take here. 11 plus wins.
Yeah. I told you.
That's a bad division to a degree. Tennessee's the only team that should be competing. I think Jacksonville and Houston will both be better. I think that they're both 5-win, 6-win teams. I really do. But I think that, you know what's funny? Me and you think Davis Mills isn't as bad as everybody else does. I think Davis Mills is not that bad.
Bro, Deshaun Watson won 4 games.
I think that your boy has no choice but to be better in Jacksonville. Even with the new coach in year 2, he really has a number.
And you will respect my authority.
Yeah.
T-Law has no choice but to be better because he's the most highly scouted and touted guy
since Andrew Luck.
So he honestly, I don't expect them. They're not contenders to make the playoffs, but like
6 wins.
But I do expect them to win 6 games. I really do. They should.
I do expect somebody from Cartersville to want to buy my preseason tickets to watch him play in Game 3 of the preseason.
Question is Game 3 going to be the new Game 3?
Nah, it's going to be Game 2, but I'm hoping whoever wants to buy my tickets don't know that.
They should. I hope they do.
You know, a lot of people don't follow sports and know like basic stuff like that the way that we do. You'd be shocked. Like I was having a conversation, and we were just talking about some roster stuff, and somebody asked me about somebody who was, I can't even remember specifically who, but they hadn't been on the roster in like 2 or 3 years. And I go, do you follow sports? I don't even think it was a Falcons conversation. It was just a conversation. I go, bruh, these are basic transactions that you should know. I work a legit 9 to 5.
What do they say, Devontae Freeman or something? Like,
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. But it was like, you should just know this. But so tier 2 is tier 2. Let's get to tier 3. Why the hell did I pull up Derek Carr? Tier 3 included quarterbacks who are legitimate starters but need a strong running game and or defense to compete. A lower volume drop back passing offense units quarterbacks in this tier.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill, Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Jameis Winston in that order.
Go back to Jalen Hurts and then go down again.
Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston. I think Trevor Lawrence is only in there because of the prospect that he was.
Yeah.
Because he didn't show us jack shit to deserve to be above Jameis Winston. At least when Jameis Winston went 30 for 30, he went 30 for 30. Trevor Lawrence's rookie stats were awful.
Let me tell you, I know that you want him to be so successful. I really get it. Jalen Hurts. But, like, I mean, what has he proven to anyone? I'm just curious. Like,
he's a gamer.
Where and when? I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, I know that he got fired over it, but
they made the playoffs, man.
I know he got fired over it, but didn't Jalen Hurts? He didn't even play in a game where the Eagles could have. I don't know, man.
So
I just remember Carson Wentz and Jalen. I remember, and I know he was a rookie, but like, does everybody want to act like we didn't remember that game? Like where Nate Sudfeld fucking played like the second half. I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. Like,
I don't think that was.
But he wasn't tanking on purpose. Like, what was the issue now? Why didn't Jalen Hurts play the rest of that game?
I'm looking at Jalen Hurts right now. He started 15 games last year. He was 8-7.
Okay.
61% completion percentage. That's not great. 3,100 yards. 16 touchdowns to 9 picks. That's awful.
Yeah, man.
But you got to bring in
the run numbers.
You got to bring in the running numbers.
And I'm looking 700 plus rushing yards.
Let's see. No, where's his rushing?
Did he have 700 or not?
He had 784 and 10 touchdowns. So he was 4,000
touchdowns.
Huh?
He had 2?
10.
Oh.
So he was 4,000 yards, 4,000 total yards, or damn near 4,000 yards, and was it 16 plus 10, 26 touchdowns. I need 10 more touchdowns.
Lurie's gonna, man, they pay him. Man, that's gonna be a pissed ass motherfucker. I'm telling you, because he ain't worth it. He's not worth the money. That's somebody that's not worth the money. They might as well hold out and hope that Lamar hits free agency, because he would be a better fit if that's what type of offense they want to run. Bring Lamar to Philly?
Do you think Jalen Hurts is a high-end backup gadget guy that gets 10 plays a game, like a Taysom Hill?
No, I think he can start in the league. I just don't think that he's a playoff starter. I know that he did start in a playoff game this year, but I'm just saying I don't view him that. I don't view him that way. And this is no Josh Holsey hate or anything. Like I I literally just don't view. And look, and I loved him in Bama. He got no offense, he got benched by Nick Saban over. Tua took his job, and so and I get it. He went to Oklahoma, great stats. Baker had great stats too when he transferred to Oklahoma. So we've got to see that story multiple times. Where is this Jalen Hurts? His tier 2 ability, or tier 3 ability, is the same way of how everybody's doing this Justin Herbert thing. I mean, what is he prove? I get it. They went to the playoffs. I just think the NFC was relatively weak. I mean, if I'm not mistakenly, you can cue the Falcon Rise Up music. The Falcons were in the playoffs chasing till the second week in January.
We were in the playoffs like week 16
it was Buffalo. It was the Buffalo game.
That was like week. That was January 2nd.
So the team were
all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Remember,
the difference in us and them was the fact that they beat us head to head in week 1 with the new coach. They had a new coach. If we win that game, we were in the driver's seat over there.
Hold on. No, we had no chance of winning that game.
No, I'm talking about against Philly.
Yeah, no, we had no chance of winning that game against Philly.
But this is what I'm saying. That might have been his best game of the season. Look, let me go to the game log. I'm going to go to the game log because do you think that he had a better game all season? Yes or no?
I don't think so because I watched the way he just ran read options.
We saw it in person. I'm about to go to his game log, and I want to see if I know he probably threw 3 touchdowns, probably 250 yards, and he probably rushed for 60.
Question.
Go ahead.
Do you miss the people in your section like after the season?
I keep in contact with one of them all the time.
I don't know anybody's name, but the faces. I go, dang man, I ain't seen my people.
Hold on. I'm pulling up his game log. So his best game last year, he threw for all right. So he was 27 of 35, which if you threw the ball 35 times and only had 206 and you completed 27 passes, it was his highest completion percentage of the year. So I can already see that. He only threw for 264, and he had a 387 game against the Chiefs, who clearly we know they have a boo-boo ass fucking secondary too. But that was his highest passing game. The Falcons game was his third highest from a yard standpoint. Was his third highest.
How many rushing yards did he have on us?
He threw 3 touchdowns that game, no picks. His rushing, 7 carries, 62 yards, no rushing touchdowns.
But each carry was like,
and he was only sacked once. Let me see if there's a QBR thing. QBR. So he had better games QBR. I think this was his best game, or maybe it was just the Eagles' most complete game. It was the first game of the season. I swear that had to have been their best game.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to see a game where I can remember last year because they played the Giants and Washington to end the season in their final 4 games. They played both of them twice.
And Washington
beat Denver in Denver, solid win.
Yes.
They beat Carolina by 3. That won me a ton of money that day. That was the key to me hitting that parlay. These guys had no good wins last year. Let me tell you, at Atlanta, at Carolina, at Detroit, at Denver, New Orleans, Washington, Giants.
They beat New Orleans?
They beat New Orleans. Now, this was without
James.
This was either Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill.
I mean,
and they were at home in this game as well.
Well, you see what happened to us at home against Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill.
And he missed a game, right? Because you said it was 15 games.
Yeah, he missed 2.
So they won one of those because I'm counting the wins. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he was 8-7.
7, 8. So he missed 2 of the games. They went 1-1 without him. So they were 500 without him, and his wins were 2 against Washington, 1 against the Giants, 1 against New Orleans, at Denver, at Detroit, at Carolina, at Atlanta. That's impressive as fuck, man. That's really impressive for a guy that people are thinking might need to get $35 to $40 million a year. Like, yeah, I'm real impressed with that. Matt Ryan's worth. I'd rather have a 35, 36-year-old Matt Ryan than Jalen Hurts, depending on what my plan is. I'm dead, and I don't mean that. This is subjective as hell. No, this is objective as hell. I use the wrong word, but
so it sounds like you want him to go to tier 4.
Tier 4, yeah.
Tier 4, quarterbacks are either unproven or veterans who ideally wouldn't start all 17 games. Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Davis Mills, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Daniel Jones.
There's 2 guys that were on that list that I would take over Jalen Hurts.
Davis Mills?
I think Justin Fields and Philly would be better than Jalen Hurts. Even after the 1 year of us seeing him, I do think he's better.
Who else? Trey Lance?
He's the unknown, but yes, that would be who I would think too. I think Daniel Jones is low-key. He's not as bad as people want him to be, I promise. Like,
Daniel Jones made the Pro Bowl, and Trevor Lawrence threw 12 touchdowns, 17 picks. Huh?
Daniel Jones didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Daniel Jones. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Mac Jones.
You're thinking of Mitch Trubisky.
No, I was thinking about Mac Jones. I'm sorry. I was not Danny Dimes.
And actually, you don't call me crazy. I'll take Mitch over Jalen Hurts today. Give me Mitch. Seriously.
Well, that's tier 5.
I'm not a believer in him. And I can't wait because once the football season matriculates, I had a couple of big.
I missed a few. Sorry. I had Mark in tier 4. We got Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, Mitch Trubisky, and Drew Lock.
Is there a tier 5?
Yeah, Geno.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think
Is Sam Darnold better than Geno? Is Sam Darnold better than Geno Smith today?
I don't know. They're both Jet rejects. I mean, I guess I would probably take Sam Darnold over him. Yeah, maybe
because he's young and there's unknown left with him.
Well, but we've seen him now on 2 different teams, and it's the same thing. So
yeah, young.
Now, granted, he had the unfortunate. They were 3-0 for the 3 games that Christian McCaffrey did play last year. Because remember, everybody was
good against us.
Everybody was like Carolina 3-0, like they were getting blown.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, like yeah, Matt Rule, like all this shit, and then they still didn't win more games than the Falcons. Like, so it just, I think that Jalen Hurts is not a tier 3 guy. Those are the biggest takeaways from his Sando's list is he's not tier 3. We can question Carr being tier 2, and then tier 1, Herbert's not tier 1.
You know, I think though, in recent memory, this is probably the best list that Sando's put out, though.
It is. I think that the list is pretty much spot on.
I can't be outraged by it. I can disagree with some things, but there's not a quarterback that's placed on there where I'm like, whoa, how the hell did he get there? But while we're talking about quarterbacks, you want to talk about those spicy Kirk Cousins comments?
Go ahead. I mean, we're while we're on the quarterback.
I'm actually looking for here we go. So Vikings new GM Adolfo Mensa says Kirk Cousins is good, but acknowledged that he's not Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. And that's obvious, but if you know anything about pro sports, especially the NFL, stuff like that only gets out when people want it to be heard. So what he's telling the world is, hey, Kirk's for sale if you want him. But what he's also telling Kirk is like, hey, man, I'm going to need to see something if you think you're going to make all this money.
Exactly. If you want to be here, because, hell, where do you have to go next year? Let's look at the teams that would be interested. Atlanta.
Yeah.
Possibly New Orleans. Possibly Carolina. Possibly, basically, our whole division, the entire NFC South might be interesting.
Yeah.
Brady retires. I doubt Kyle Trask gets the keys. We don't know what the Falcons, depending on how many games they win, will they be in the position to draft someone? New Orleans, of course, is clearly in the market of if Jameis ain't winning 11-plus games, we're really okay with moving on from him.
I think Houston could be there.
This will be a make or break year because even if they know that they're not going to win 8-9 games, but if they can win 5 or 6 and he looks like he's taking that step, they're okay with keeping him.
Philly,
and
they got the pick. They got the picks if they want to make a trade.
New York, the Giants,
yeah.
Washington too.
I don't think that happens.
I don't think that what's to say is the long-term answer. I think that they do want to see what he does, but
I don't think Kirk goes back to Washington.
I think that's another place. Seattle,
yeah. San Fran,
I think they're going to give him at least 2 years, though. But Kirk Cousins makes a lot of sense there, of course. Just like Matt Ryan would have this year. If they didn't believe in Trey Lance, they could have traded Trey Lance to
No. If they didn't move 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance.
They could have asked Matt Ryan. They could have asked the Falcons. They could have said, hey, we want your 2028 first, and we want your third this year, and Matt Ryan, we'll give you Trey Lance. They might have made that deal.
I would have said call it in.
But I'm saying I think that Atlanta would have taken that. We would have taken the deal.
And I'm saying call it in right now because
I do think that it's a weird situation because they took Kyle Pitts, but I think that is who they wanted. I think that's actually who they did want. I do think
Trey Lance.
Yeah, I think that if he was only the pick before, so I think that is who they wanted, but they weren't willing to trade up to get him.
And with hindsight being 2020, I think not picking Justin Fields, no matter how good he may be, was the right decision because bringing young people back home, it's not good for their growth. And the expectation would be for him to be the next Mike Vick.
Oh, for sure. And he would have known that.
And that wouldn't be good for him. But while we're talking about the Falcons and whatnot, let me go ahead and cue it up.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Because I think we got some bad news in Falcons Nation.
Call me Julio. Soon as the work touch, we make it Julio. Me and my plug sipping Don Julio.
We don't sip Don Julio over here. We drink much better tequila than that.
It's okay, Scooter. That was 10 years ago. I get it. Maybe that was everybody moved on to Patron, and it was it's Don Julio this. But
Don Julio was a step up from
Patron. 10 different tequilas better than all those now.
Yeah, I mean, for the same price too.
There might be more tequilas today that are great tequilas than any other genre of liquor. I think tequila has the most verse.
I think tequila is definitely the most versatile, especially when you're talking in the $50 bottle range. Like between De Leon, Casa Noble, Casamigos.
Terramana is less than that, but Terramana is in the ballpark too.
Lobos, Gran Cormino. Altos is a nice $25 bottle.
I'll give you one. La Gratona is the one that I have here.
Okay.
Love La Gratona. 30, it's like a $32 bottle. Great tequila. It's a great tequila. It's a great tequila. Of course, you got Jordans. You got to try the Jordan when you were here. Right?
I've tried it. I've got to find it because I need a bottle.
Yeah, the Jordan, and that's a $100 bottle. But Jordan tequila is great. There's a lot of good tequilas out here.
I mean, if we think about it,
Kevin Hart,
Grand Cormino.
Yeah, okay, that is a Cormino. Yeah.
The thing about tequila, man, I think it's the perfect adult drink. Because
if you're gonna shoot anything, you're gonna shoot tequila.
Yeah, you can shoot it, you can sip it, and you can mix it. Like if you're drinking good whiskey, you shouldn't be mixing it. You shouldn't be shooting it. You just sip it.
It's only sip. It's sip. It's a sip exclusive.
Right. Vodka. I'm not sipping vodka.
I don't drink vodka at all.
I don't either. Like, I'll occasionally feel young and give me a vodka Red Bull.
That would be the only thing, and it has to be like Tito's.
Right. Or if we go to San Diego, we might go get RBV slushies.
Sure. Sure.
Josh Hollywood. Were you with us that day I bought Josh Holsey a fucking vodka water because he was so hammered I knew he couldn't taste what he was drinking?
If so, I can't remember. And that sounds about a San Diego night.
I feel like San Diego is probably like the locker rooms, like outside of Atlanta because of college, is like our fucked up city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did nothing to really take in the sights and sounds of the cities besides just, hey, we're here from this day to this day. We're raging. That's how we're doing.
We're having a good time. It's the post college spot. I would say for sure, especially because a lot of you guys had some sort of a residency there.
I was there.
Gam, Gam was in Point Grey. They were in NoCal too, just like you, but like it was still feasible for everybody to drive. Dale was there for a little bit.
Yeah,
the only people that weren't there was me, Justice, of course, and then Jew. And
Nico's from there.
Oh, Nico's from there.
Nico's from there. So like Nico, when Nico would come home, me and him would link, and I'd wake up in my bed alone.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect you would be waking up with anyone anyway.
No, never. Let's get back to this. I expected Julio Jones to sign with a contender. I was hoping that contender would be Buffalo, LA,
or
Green Bay.
And then might not be contenders, but you're like the guy that's supposed to, if you're healthy, like you said you were today at your press conference, you're the guy that puts it over the top.
But I think Julio to Tampa is just spit in the Falcons' face.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that!
Because although Julio is not the greatest Falcon ever, he is the most high-performing Falcon ever.
You argue behind Michael Vick, he's the favorite Falcon ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Of the last 30 years.
Right, like he's in QC.
Because he was here long enough too. He played here for a decade.
Right. But as far as, yeah, you could say Deion's the greatest Falcon ever, but Deion played his peak outside of Atlanta.
Well, he played here for 4 years.
But Julio's prime was in Julio's prime was in Atlanta, and his prime,
all of his career was here.
Yeah. His career that matters has been in Atlanta. And you can
all of it. He's only played 1 year elsewhere. I mean, all of his career was here.
And that shit didn't matter. And you can stack Julio's prime up with anybody who's played that position.
He was the best receiver of a decade. He was literally
2010s all decade.
Here's the issue with Megatron, for instance. He was in between the 2000s
decades
and the 2010s. So that's like what kind of is his issue. He's in between. But AB and Julio were, from start to finish, the best receivers of the decade.
Yeah.
And they put 3 receivers on that team because it's a passing league now. So, of course, you got to have 2 receivers. So, all 3 of them, those are the 3 receivers. There is nobody else on the list. It's those 3. He is – and then I think with Julio, too, he is on paper, or at least from what the media perceives, he is the consummate – he is the professional. Like, AB obviously has all these issues. Calvin didn't even play that long, for what it's worth. Julio was the model of consistency, and he was, him going to Tampa makes a ton of sense with Tom Brady because he fits the mold of a guy that probably should have played with him in New England.
Yeah, I could have seen Julio being a New England guy because, he's a multifaceted receiver, and I really think we're gonna see some Julio slot stuff that a lot of people may not think that Julio can do, but the way Tom's gonna work that shit, it's gonna be really nice. I'm looking as a football fan, I'm looking forward to seeing it. But as a Falcons fan, it just hurts my heart to see Julio come back to the division. I get it; he's trying to win that Super Bowl, and
that's all this movie was about. Did you see what the contract detail was?
No, it's probably ugly. I know it's not about Bunny because we're still paying him, aren't we?
No, we're off the hook now on him. Maybe the cap still does it, but we're
still got 66 mil.
So check this out. He got a 1 year, $6 million, which I just started asking myself. I was just like, hold on. Where is Tampa getting all this goddamn money from? Because can they afford to pay him that? Mike Evans has got to be making, even on his old deal, 17 or something. They just played Chris Godwin 20. Russell Gage got 10 a year. Now, we're just talking about the receiving core. I get it. Gronk retired. They just signed Kyle Rudolph. They paid Levante Davis, got to be making some money. So does what's his face? Not Sue. Goddamn it. Shaq Barrett. They paid Shaq Barrett.
You want to get your heart broken?
Yeah.
Mike Evans cap hit his base salary this year, $1.1 million.
But what's his contract? What was the contract? He turned in 5 years, 75 or something like.
It's 5 years. It's 5 years, 82.
So he's on the last year of that deal.
He got one more year next year, where he's going to be his base salary be 13 million
because he's winning and he knows he'll get paid no matter where he goes.
So he's going to restructure. They all
restructure, but it's just still. Julio signed a $1 year, $6 million with an $8 million escalator.
Hold on. So he's
on paper wise, Julio paid wise is wide receiver 4.
So Mike Evans is a $10 million cap hit. That ain't shit.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I guess they did it the right way, but at the same time,
can we hire these people in Atlanta?
No. Well, remember, Terry Fontenot's supposed to be the fucking cap wizard because he was the one in control of it in New Orleans, which is why they were for so many years. Because think about it, New Orleans' bad years. They had 3 or 4 straight years of 7-9. Those were the bad years there. They weren't going to the playoffs, but they didn't suck. And the Falcons, with nothing, went 7-10, which I give Arthur Smith a lot of credit. I give Matt Ryan credit too because it was Matt. I mean, and Cordell Patterson, they were good value signings, and anything from the
Cordell's a fan favorite now.
Who?
Cordell's a fan favorite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's got his place in Falcon lore, even if he's not as good this year,
bro.
Just because he was literally the offense last year.
We saw it at the beginning of the season. It seemed like before Arthur Smith fell in love with him, it's like every time he ran the ball, he's getting 7 yards. Get this motherfucker the ball. But I just say Julio to Tampa hurts because if Julio wins a ring in Tampa, it's with a division opponent. It's with Brady. And, we can appreciate Brady, but we can never love Brady because of 28-3.
Oh, I don't love Brady. They asked him that in his presser today. They kept asking Julio. That was the first thing they brought up. They said, how does it feel to team up basically with the guy that took a ring away from you? They came up a few times in the conversation. I think
you got to get press passes.
Sports media just loves the idea of that Super Bowl for whatever reason. And
Bro,
I get it. I really do get it because that was the record breaker for Brady, right? It was
You gotta get press
for
passes.
quarterbacks. Everybody had 4. He had 4. That was number 5. So he broke the record in a comeback fashion. It's the only Super Bowl that's ever went to overtime.
We need credentials, man.
It was the most Falcon thing on the grandest of stage. Like, so it made I get why it's etched in people's minds and stuff. But like the thing is that as a fan, like I'll never forget it. Of course I won't. But I think of everything outside of honestly not winning the game that year because of how great it was to finally have something. Like we finally had something.
I don't think about 28-3 nearly as much as non-Falcon football America does. Like it happened.
Same.
I processed it. I'm still not over it. You know what I mean? But like I've accepted that.
We won't ever really be over it.
No.
Because every time I look at highlights, even today when Julio had signed, me and Justice in the office, we pulled up the clip of Julio's catch. Because our thought was this, and what he's going to do in Tampa, more so. If he's healthy, I don't know why he wouldn't still be really productive. Even with that talent, I just don't see how he wouldn't be productive. Is he going to be 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown receiver? Probably not, but like he will easily go, if healthy and plays in every game, even without the rapport with Tom Brady. I don't see how he doesn't get 707 touchdowns. I really don't. I mean, how? If he's healthy, he's not that old. Let's stop acting like Julio's 35. He's 33, and he just turned it. Like, he ain't that fucking old. If
he's a freak athlete.
Exactly. But either way, when I think of that Super Bowl, we went back to that. We watched it. That catch is still amazing. It's crazy, not only because we lost the game, but it gets overshadowed, of course, because of that ridiculous catch that Edelman had. It always overshadows it, but that was truly, if the Falcons had won the Super Bowl, that catch, even though it wasn't a touchdown catch, it would have went down in lore just like how when Big Ben threw it to Holmes. It was damn near almost a very similar catch. His was just in the end zone, and that just so happened to be the final touchdown of the game. But that should have been the ender of the game. Unbelievable catch by Julio. But, whenever I look at that highlight, Lee, I'm a scorned Falcons fan because I don't think about it as much. I really don't. Like, I don't think about that Super Bowl like that when it comes to thinking about my team. I really don't. But that seems to be the national narrative. You get on social media, comments, anything Falcons related, 28. Like comments, you just see it, and it's just kind of
like and I hate to hear it from certain people like our good friend Dale, right? He's a Skins fan, or he's a Commanders fan. His team has won a Super Bowl, but not in his lifetime. I don't want to hear that shit from you. Even with our good friend Julian Turner, I'm like, hey, we've had
more success.
More success in our adult lives the last 10 years
than you have.
Yeah,
even with the Super Bowl win.
Yeah,
they won in 06 and 10.
No, Aaron Rodgers.
09.
08 or 09.
08. 09 was the Super Bowl, but the 08-09 season.
Right.
Yes. I remember, because we lost to the Cardinals. It was Matt Ryan's rookie year. So within those 14 years, the Falcons have played we played in the same amount of championships. The Steelers have only played in 2 AFC championships.
Yeah, the Patriots got their ass.
The Falcons played in 2 NFC championships. We went to the Super Bowl. We've had an MVP. We've made the playoffs probably the same amount. Nah, they probably made it maybe 1 year more. But it still speaks to the volume. Considering what the Falcons as a franchise are, that's a losing franchise. And we get that, and like it's just like he doesn't understand that. Yeah, we know that like this is a losing franchise, but we're from here, Jew. I don't have anything to do with everything but pre-90s. Like I don't
Hey,
know.
here's the thing though. What I think Julian doesn't get
He's
is
on his way here too, by the way.
huh?
I say he's on his way here.
That's beautiful. As him as a Steelers fan, he's a trust fund kid.
Basically,
He's a trust fund fan. Now, the only person in our group who gets to talk shit is Josh. Because they won a Super Bowl. They beat us on the way to that Super Bowl.
but it was the closest game they played in the postseason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we should have won that game and won that Super Bowl, but
It was the closest game, including that Super Bowl.
we would have got our get back.
If we had won that game, the Falcons, I holistically believe we beat Minnesota. And even on the road, we go to Minnesota.
Case Keenum's not beating us.
I know, but I truly believe we get the revenge.
We get our revenge.
How crazy is it that they could have just went back to back?
That would have been crazy. You want to talk about
that's a wilder scenario of life, but
you want to talk about BG or not Kirk Cousins. We already done that. Or Vince McMahon.
Vince. I'm not trying to throw BG on the back burner, but it's just.
I mean, we can throw on the back burner. She plays in the WNBA. Everybody's throwing them on the back burner, so it's fine.
Well, we watched more wrestling than we did WNBA basketball. Would you agree?
Hell yeah. I used to watch wrestling every week.
All right, exactly. We used to pay attention more to wrestling maybe than other pro sports. So
there was a time in my life where wrestling was
more important than basketball.
It was definitely number 2.
Even football, maybe.
It may have been wrestling was definitely number 1. I had a wrestling themed birthday party.
I used to, man, and the thing with the WWE now, WWF, WCW, I was a big wrestling fan. My toys, I used to have toys, like how girls play with Barbies. I had wrestling toys.
Yeah.
Me and Justice used to play in my room, in my closet. I used to have a ring. I used to have the SmackDown walkthrough set to where they had the thing on the bottom of the foot and they would play the music.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love wrestling. And the thing is with the WWE or WWF, whatever, before it switched, and we were bigger WCW guys, crazy enough. Like growing up.
No, me too. I was a WCW guy.
But I think it's because we grew up here and they were based here. It's Ted
Turner, baby.
And then they had Hogan and Goldberg.
Goldberg, Sting, Kevin Nash.
Lex Luger, the Steiners, like the whole nine, Booker T, Harlem Heat, like WCW, because it was in this backyard and it was on TNT and TBS. I think that we were more invested, Scott Stein, like we were more invested in WCW, but the first WWE, when I really started watching them, it's funny only because WCW had went out of business by that time, but it was around the time of WrestleMania 17. WrestleMania 17, and this is the reason I remember it, because it's the first WWE pay-per-view we ever ordered. But it just so happened to, if you look it up, if you Google it, just based on the standards of pro wrestling snobs and people that watch wrestling like that back then, a lot of people rank that still as the greatest WrestleMania ever.
Okay.
And for it to be the end of an era, this is the reason why I bring up that WrestleMania, because it is like the first one we ever ordered. And I'll never forget, because it's an iconic matchup in the main event. It's The Rock and Stone Cold. We watched The Rock and Stone Cold fight each other. And
hold on, real quick. Why was William Regal as big as he was?
He was the commissioner at one point.
Because he was a bad body British motherfucker, but he was
really cool theme music because it was evil too. It was like this England ass, like smog raining theme music. Like it sounded like the weather was bad outside.
I'm looking at a triple threat. A triple threat hardcore match: Kane, Raven, and the Big Show.
I remember that. I'm telling you, yeah. They had
Eddie Guerrero versus Test, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit.
Yes, and that matchup was it's like a technical wrestling matchup. They had, of course, the TLC tables, ladders, chairs.
Hold on, I'm getting there. Hold on. Before you get there, I'm going to
Triple H and
Shane McMahon
Man.
and Linda versus Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Trish Stratus. Because Vince was giving Trish the steal.
Hey, she might be a part of that lawsuit for why it's the end of the era.
But see, we got the TLC Edge Christian versus the Dudley Boys.
Bro, one of the greatest wrestling matches ever.
Edge Christian defeated the Dudley Boys
and the Hardy
and the Hardy Boys.
It was
the triple threat TLC.
I remember it when in our basement when I was 8, 7.
Yeah,
it was, bro. It was like as a kid, bro. That was everything you wanted in a wrestling match. Like they was great. But
you get Undertaker Triple H before Stone Cold and The Rock.
And then, but now, yes. And here's the thing: that Stone Cold Rock match, what makes it so obviously, first of all, that WrestleMania signals the end of the Attitude Era because WCW and ECW were out of business. It was the first WrestleMania post that, and then they did the whole adding Booker T, like all these people that were from WCW and ECW. But it was the end of the Attitude Era, and then the Rock and Stone Cold are the biggest post Hulk Hogan are the biggest wrestlers of all time. I mean, I love Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I think that DX was great, but they were both, and if we keep it real, they're bigger than both of them. And so Stone Cold and The Rock, and that was their best matchup too. They faced each other 3 times at WrestleMania.
Do I know this? Do I know that? What? Huh? What? Does it look like I care? Do you care? Tell me, do you care? Do you care?
That was Celebrity Deathmatch.
Do you care? What? I mentioned inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer. I'm a little pissed off.
I got to take a shot to that.
Me too. I'm pouring up now.
Yeah.
So we can toast.
Why did I get goosebumps listening to that right there?
Because it's nostalgia, and it's even if you didn't watch that episode, you just know that this was how it used to go, and that's what made. It sucks for Vince, obviously, because he's the brainchild. Truly,
I don't know if it sucks for Vince. I think he got what he deserved.
He might have not been the writer, but Vince was definitely the one pulling. I believe he's going to still be pulling the strings. But wait, just to finish out that WrestleMania 17 bit for me, watching that was like the craziest thing because first of all, it changed. Stone Cold Steve Austin became the bad guy. He went heel. And because technically The Rock was the bad guy, I guess, coming into the match, but Vince McMahon helped Stone Cold win that title that year. And I remember that because it was pretty significant considering who Stone Cold Steve Austin was. And of course, a few years go by, but then The Rock becomes the Scorpion King. He was in the Mummy movies. And then he had his own, it was like The Rock. That's what he became now, who he is today. And you had to wait a few more years because Eddie Guerrero, there was Brock Lesnar, of course. Brock Lesnar still, I don't know if he wrestles or not. I know he did.
He does. Yeah, he does. But
still, Brock Lesnar's like a big Randy Orton. Those are the guys I can remember that are
that next era, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena. They tried to turn John Cena into an actor, but He's
still big. John Cena's really big.
No, he's still big. Yeah, but John Cena to me, because I was still watching wrestling in John Cena's rise.
Yes, you can't see me,
and maybe it's my own nostalgia and my own personal.
He wasn't the best wrestler though. He was not on the tier of The Rock and Stone Cold.
No,
or Triple H too, and Shawn Michaels coming back. Shawn Michaels and Triple H to me carried the WWE in that and Chris Benoit from character standpoint, it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They just did. They carried.
I mean, because Triple H
and the Undertaker.
Triple H was the ultimate heel.
Yes, bro. He's the greatest villain.
Like, I don't know anybody who likes
he
him.
was a good guy, of course, with DX, but even outside of DX as a single wrestler, was a good guy at one point where everybody time to play the game. Like you hear the fucking theme and you're like, everybody gets fucking pumped.
Then they brought Goldberg back.
Good call though.
Yeah, I mean the Falcon, the Bulldog.
Kane was and even without the mask, like it was still Kane, right?
Yeah, Kane was fine. The Big Show, he was fine because we knew him as a giant in WCW.
Giant, exactly. And then the Undertaker it's been really the most consistent guy the whole time. It's the Undertaker.
Hey, you remember when Undertaker went Biker Boy?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The Undertaker's had different eras of himself.
He did. Because he was. But the one thing I liked about the Undertaker was he didn't do it often, but he always kept old school in his arsenal. When he would walk down that top turnbuckle.
Well, and even as the Biker Boy Taker,
ride. Yeah,
he used to do the last ride more so like the powerbomb, but he still would occasionally tombstone a nigga. And then
choke slams too.
He still would sometimes do the eyes. There's yeah, exactly, man.
I was a big Taker fan. I was a huge Taker fan. Like,
and they had the WCW guys like Rey Mysterio at one point was
he was like the world champion
before Eddie Guerrero died. Like Eddie Guerrero was getting a lot bigger. Eddie Guerrero was
roids.
Chris Benoit too. I mean, those are guys, but those are like the top. Kurt Angle was a really good wrestler.
You suck.
Yeah.
You suck.
That's what I'm saying. And
you suck.
Vince McMahon is the overseer. I guess maybe that's a terrible way to put it.
No, it ain't. No, it's exactly what he is. He was the damn overseer. You remember he
had his time.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Where he was champion, like in the Raw, that early 2000 Raw era. Where
King Booker. That King nigga Booker, coming out there with the crown on and
with his wife
and the robe and shit.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
and Brock Lesnar and John Cena, like those were the guys though of that era.
Question: did Booker T have some of the biggest lats and biggest chest you ever seen in your life?
He was a big nigga, man. He definitely.
You know, but here's the crazy thing: Brock Lesnar and Batista, as premier guys, they got so lucky because they had the Booker
Batista
T's.
too, yeah. You know,
they had like the Booker T's, the Triple H's, the Shawn Michaels.
Triple H was bigger than Batista.
Huh?
Triple H was bigger than Batista. And we're talking post Stone Cold.
Right, but Batista got to be the best wrestler for a while. But his personality, like,
he's similar in a weird way. I don't watch it today, but based on just even what I know, he's similar to Roman Reigns, basically.
You know, Roman Reigns played ball at Tech.
Yeah. So I know who he is. Like, I don't even watch wrestling, but I know who Roman Reigns is because he's basically the top guy today.
Yeah, but nobody's checking for him.
Exactly. And then Randy Orton became – when you look back at Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, Ric Flair, I don't think it gets any better from a all the way around, like, faction, like a group.
Because you had Ric Flair.
Because even DX, for instance – Billy Gunn and Road Dogg in China aren't on the same level. Everybody in Evolution.
Nothing beat NWO. Stop it.
Evolution got no. In terms of nostalgia and just overall impact, no. But DX had a ton of influence too, just like NWO. Exactly. When people used to fucking crotch chop people in elementary school, like they had a ton of influence. I'm just saying from a group by group, like who has a more accomplished group of wrestlers than would you take Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan over Batista, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Triple H?
Personally, yes. I'm biased.
I do too because of WCW, but like in reality, okay, let's add the Giant to that NWO as the fourth member. Is the Giant Hulk
I'm
Hogan,
not taking anybody over NWO.
evolution, you'd have to consider. I mean, because of Randy Orton, I guess is still pretty big in the WWE. Batista's obviously in Marvel movies. Triple H is running the show now, and Ric Flair is Ric Flair. Scott Hall just died. Kevin Nash, love Kevin Nash. Like me and like bro, we used to play the wrestling games on.
You know Kevin Nash hooped at University of Tennessee.
Yeah. I did see that. I read about that.
I think Taker was a hooper.
I mean, these niggas 7 feet tall. I don't fuck. What were they doing before? They better than playing some ball. Like,
Mini cab. In just about 20 minutes, I'm on ease down the steps. Ted Turner by my side.
That boy liked cocaine, didn't he?
Right on 85.
Liked it? Are you sure? That's maybe an understatement.
Loved it.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You gotta do
Can't even take 85 to New Orleans, man. What you talking about?
Right now,
is this the one where he does that? I'm having a hard time keeping it. It's so hard for me.
I don't know.
Because in several hours,
I think it is.
I'm gonna walk that out.
It is. This has got to be.
Only the nature boy can look.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
So fine. I'm not even.
Sting, of course, like I said, we talked about Sting with the WCW, but wrestling in this era, that's why it's so big, because Vince McMahon's been a part of it since before then.
The thing is, he brought it all together.
Hogan came from Vince McMahon. So, like, he's created the greatest. He is wrestling, like, in a weird way.
He when it was all a bunch of
promoter ever.
He took the Chitlin circuit and turned it into a whole hog.
Because before the WWE, there were multiple there were multiple circuits of it, and then similar to whatever AEW is today, that was WCW back in the day, where there was a second brand
that was actually decent.
Somebody that has money, like Shad Khan is the one that's funding that, right? Like,
right, Ted Turner had it because
exactly, and Ted was here, and like, I mean, Ted's a billion. Like, he's a billionaire too. So like Ted already tried it, and like Vince defeated that shit. Like, nigga, he put a billionaire out of business. How do you do that? How many people have that accomplishment? Like, it's one thing to put give me a grocery store that somebody owns. Like Kroger and Publix are bigger here, but like whoever owned Kmart got put out of business by Walmart, I guess. But like, very rarely are you going to catch a billionaire getting put out of business by another billionaire. And like, they directly are competing over one viewer.
But the crazy thing is Vince created a better product. And once WCW started hemorrhaging, he was like, hey, we can do it the easy way, the hard way. I can buy you out now, or I can let you bleed out and you get nothing.
But right, that's what I'm saying. The WWE was the one that was struggling. And like, because WCW took all away basically the old wrestlers.
All the top talent.
Hulk Hogan, when you took away the biggest star, but that's what makes the WWE so legendary. It literally created stars out of nowhere.
And I think
nobody knew who Stone Cold Steve Austin was.
And that's what WCW couldn't do.
Nobody knew who The Rock, like The Rock was somebody else before The Rock. Like, he was
Rocky.
Like he's in the Nation of Domination, but he's not The Rock. He's not the eye raising, pie eating. Like, you know, he's not The Rock, bro. Like, The Rock. And you know what's crazy about The Rock, probably more than anyone, of course, obviously, because he's such a big star today, is that anyone that watched wrestling in that era knew that The Rock was so good on camera that it was honestly there was nobody better. Even Stone Cold was nowhere near The Rock in terms of talking on the mic and like being charismatic, and like he was so good, bro. Like the Rock, no homo, obviously, like is not a bad looking guy, and he's got obviously had the physique. He played at the U. Like the Rock was like the perfect person. I am not surprised at the Rock's success today.
No,
at all. I'm really not.
Every man for himself. Every man for himself. The Rock says this, Michael Cole, jabroni. How do you feel about the match? Well, I think it doesn't matter how you feel. Wait. 1, 2. There's 2 now. It doesn't matter if the Rock has the
And people went wild over this, though, over the Rock, bro. The Rock. But even there, and the guy that probably doesn't get the credit he deserves is whoever was composing that music. Because there's a guy that does a lot of
smell. The Rock is cooking. So I don't know if you watch Warren Sapp on Shannon Sharp's podcast, but he was saying a lot of the stuff that The Rock was saying, he stole from what's his name? Coach O. So all that sticking up your candy ass, Coach O was saying that shit in practice.
So Coach O was an assistant at the University of Miami.
Yeah.
He still made it sound better. So what difference does it make?
No, he wasn't like shitting on The Rock or nothing, but like, because Shannon asked
his isms.
Yeah, like Shannon was just asking him about The Rock, and he was like, and Warren Sapp was like, yeah, no, he wasn't a football player. No, he wasn't. He could play at Miami, but he wasn't playing on Sunday. But and Shannon asked,
bro, The Rock, and then his dad was a wrestler. So
yeah, his granddad was a wrestler too. So like,
he's third generation.
So like, when he was talking about, Shannon asked about like all the crazy shit The Rock would say, and like, was he like that in college? And Warren was like, nah, he was really kind of laid back. Like he didn't say much, but like Derek Brooks was a wrestling. But he said Derek Brooks was a wrestling fan because he didn't really watch wrestling. And then like he ended up watching wrestling with him like in a room and shit one day. And he hearing The Rock say all this stuff, and he like, oh, bro, that's the shit Coach O used to say.
That's crazy. But it stuck with him. But you know what? He knew that Coach O was a character too, clearly. He's like, oh, he's a character.
Oh, bro. Coach O had the divorce and was bringing the youngins to the facility. Yeah, I'm Coach O.
And I think the thing, like I said, that's why, yeah, it's definitely the end of the air. It's crazy. It's honestly not even that surprising what happened to Vince McMahon, but like
a billionaire getting sexual harassment and assault allegations.
Well, not even sexual harassment because it never went to court. But the fact that they were willing to take the money, but all they had to do was sleep with him and be like,
he made me uncomfortable.
Wrong. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, well, look, they said it was like 4 or 5 of them it was like 05 to like 13 or something. And so it's like, I'm curious as to who it was. I know they said one of them was like an attorney.
Oh, I mean, come on. You know how it goes. He's the man.
He might have banged like Trish or somebody might have not been a part, but Trish Stratus used to be the hottest diva, right? Like Tori Wilson, Stacey Keebler, like there were these white chicks that were like bad.
They had Lita, who was like for the white trash guys.
Lita was hot too, though.
Yeah, but she was like for the white trash Hardy Boys.
She was the rogue bitch.
Then you had like China,
who actually did porn, but like,
ew.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on, here.
She's a bodybuilder, right? So. What is this?
I'm trying to see.
As we are well aware.
Oh God, no! I don't want to hear a fucking.
What's good in the hood? Just hold it down, try to take care of business. Keep it up.
Hold on, I'm about to do something for you.
I'm mad they blocked it out, but it's some woke ass video.
Hopefully this doesn't get us blocked, but hold on. I'm about to play the raw thing.
Your shipping manager left to find
damn it. Hold on. I don't need Indeed. Oh yeah, I do. I actually do. But of course, this is always legendary. Here we go.
Yeah, the fucking.
And you knew it was Monday Night Raw on fucking Spike TV.
Yeah.
Spike TV. And I know it's USA Network, like for a little bit. Like,
That was such a men's network.
I used to fucking love. Yeah, bro. They used to do like what was it called? Tag. What was it? I want your bod. It was you remember they used to do, it's so funny, that television placement in the ads. They would do the pill. It wasn't the one that the Big Hurt promotes. But they used to do like one of those it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Wrestling brought so many great memories. Let me tell you something too. This is a funny story just because I saw, obviously, I think I told y'all last Thursday I was with Colin.
Yeah.
At the gym. And so,
you gotta talk about that too, like off air.
Yeah, for sure. One of the funnier memories with them as a whole is that I've only been to one Monday Night Raw ever. It was a Monday Night Raw. Justice got the John Cena spinning belt that night. My mom bought it for him. And but it was me, Justice, Colin, and his brother Jordan. Jordan and Justice are the same age.
Okay.
And then it was my mom and Coach Steve, which was Colin's dad. And like my mom fucking hated wrestling because she used to tell us it was fake and stuff.
Doesn't matter.
I know when we used to tell her that. She really didn't care. And like the fact that she did that for us, it was great. Like, I mean, I'll never forget it. But the one wrestling event, I promise, maybe Colin has been to one, maybe since. I'd have to ask him. But never. We've never been. I haven't been. That's the only wrestling event I've ever been to. But it was great because DX was still then, so they came out. They didn't even wrestle that night, but they came out for the fans during, like, I guess, a commercial break. And like,
I was watching Stone Cold.
It was their night off.
So I was watching Stone Cold on the podcast, and he was talking about like how it actually goes when you go to these different cities, because like they're wrestling every night, but every night doesn't make TV.
Yeah, they do house shows, but like,
right.
But we did a Monday night. It was Monday night.
Yeah. So like I did a SmackDown in San Diego, and it was like a no shit SmackDown, but the first few matches were for NXT, and I'm mad as hell because I showed up on time, and I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to watch no NXT. I don't care about who next. I want to see Chris Jericho.
Right.
But let's not. So we had a nostalgic conversation about wrestling, and I think that's super important. I think that's great. And
it's a big, man, let me tell you.
It's a big part of our childhood.
Nostalgic is looking back at basketball during the time in 2005, 2004, when Vince Carter went to Nets, like how the NBA used to be, and the NFL for what it's worth, like just at how, and I know that was sports entertainment, but like it was all a part of our lives. And that's what makes it so special, because we all watched it from a different lens, but we all have the same memories. Like we can remember this stuff, like how wrestling, like today, it would be hard. Like I have a 7-year-old brother, right?
7-year-old brother?
He might watch wrestling, but like I was definitely watching wrestling at 7. So, but like the thing is that you can't, like, because wrestling is not, A, it isn't as good. I know that much. But then B, even if it was, which it isn't, like they're not, social media has taken over to where that's the new space of entertainment. So it's not like doing stuff and going outside and
but here's what I want to talk about, right? I want to have like a bigger conversation about like Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at Vince McMahon, you look at Harvey Weinstein, and these were two gatekeepers into industries, right? And I think, don't let me misunderstand your upbringing, but I feel like growing up, and not something taught at the house, but something that you just understood. men with power had sex with women. And that sex could benefit that woman outside of the bedroom. And again, I'm not saying this is behavior that we were taught. It's just behavior that you watch movies.
I think that was always, even for somebody, like, I don't think my mom, for instance, like my dad, like, this is one of the crazier things. My dad probably used to make more money back then than he did today.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of inflation either. I just think that, like, the check that he was getting himself cut was a lot bigger even back then. And, like, so, like, not from the perspective of in my house. Like, I don't
No. It's not a perspective in our house. It's just our understanding.
Yes. One of the things I always understood was if you made money, that's why a lot of niggas wanted to play in the NBA anyways. You wanted to play in the NBA to get the bit. Like, I mean, that's a part of it. And the thing is, as kids growing up, like, you think about that aspect. Like, yes, you wanted to be financially straight. You wanted a big house, all this stuff.
You wanted to hose.
It was the women, bro. Like, it's in the man's nature, a straight man's nature, or should I say cis, to be politically correct here. A cis.
I don't know. Let's check with Kyle and see. She can like walk us through this whole thing.
Maybe we should hit up Matt. I don't know. But either way, I think we need to bring Matt on the pod because I brought Matt on, and it's one of the most fun podcasts I ever had. One of the best ones you think you've done.
Yeah, like as a guest, like Matt came on, like, yo, what's up? I'm like, Matt, why are you so happy to be here, bro? We're friends. We're just talking. But like, he was like a great guest. Like, I'm getting excited thinking about like how great of a guest.
I call him Matty Ice too.
Yeah, we all call him Matty Ice. But yeah, no, but I wanted to have the conversation about another man in power losing his power because of his missteps sexually. And I think that it's going to be a harsh awakening not for us. I think we're young enough to realize where this stuff is going, and you can't use your power and influence to get sex anymore. Like for our generation. But the 50-year-olds who are now just getting their professional power because, hey, social media, guess what?
I've been working 30 years to get into this position.
Right.
To social media, do what I've seen and known.
Social media needs to know that most decision makers are in their 50s.
And they're not even on social media.
Right. So, but now
they're aware of like the stuff that happens because their peers are getting busted. But like outside of that, bro, they don't live in that reality. Because they're not on fucking social media because they don't care about the internet and posting pictures. Like,
and this woke shit, this woke stuff that is, again, good information. Like, I'm happy that I'm receiving it at 30 so I don't make these same mistakes that other people are making. You just understand that, like, you can't see somebody in a skirt at work and be like, yo, nice legs, baby.
Man, I banged that bitch so hard. Like, yeah, like
you can't say that.
Have that guy-to-guy conversation about a coworker because you're afraid, they might be there's one or two things. They're a secret.
He might not be cis.
They're a
or he might be or
the guy that you're telling that you're talking to might be a secret agent. FAGGOOOYTTTTY.
Or he might be, instead of being like cis, he's a cis.
Yeah, exactly. He's actually a cis.
Instead of being cis, he's a cis, and he's throwing a cis to cis.
And he's right, and he's really giving her an assist to like screw that nigga's law.
Boy, wordplay, boy. Y'all talk about Rocco, boy. Let me tell you something about wordplay. I like to play with words.
Yeah, and I'm not mad either in a sense of I understand that like
no, we need to create better workplaces for women. Like that is a reality that I think is true.
That's a good part that comes from this. Like, I think that it does weave out actually the weirdos and creeps and like abuse of power type guys. I think that though there are still even the women out there that are like, hell yeah, I'll fuck my boss for $1 million, like whatever.
And that's my problem with exposing some of these creeps.
But that's why most men are afraid to do it. But it's like they will be happier. And I'm not talking about the guys cheating on their wives like Vince or whatever. But like,
we don't even know if he's cheating on his wife. He might have
those women. There are women out here. Hey, on Reddit, let me pull it up. On Reddit, they're the group of and it's pretty much nothing but women. Let me pull it up. So I don't want to be
as you're pulling it up. I'll feel the dead air, but I think it's interesting because I think it's important to expose the creep guys, but I also think it's important to have the conversation about the women who are really willing to suck it all in order to get where they want to go. And if you're willing to suck it all to get where you want to go, the guy who got sucked off, he's not a creep for that.
Do you have Reddit?
I do.
All right, so on Reddit, there is a subreddit called Work Gone Wild. So kind of like Girls Gone Wild, right? But it's literally women at work. And this is something I stumbled upon while I was sitting in Miami on Sunday. When I was telling you, I was like, they keep overselling flight. So I'm just like doing random shit. And it came up because I wanted to, funny enough, I don't even mind putting this out for the podcast. I wanted to look up the gate agent because her hair kept even covering her name. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, man. This chick, I could not believe that she was a fucking gate agent because she didn't look like she was a fucking gate agent. She was probably a 7 in the face, but like her body was a 10, no matter what. Like, and I don't want to sound misogynistic by even talking about this. I know you're a married man. I've got a daughter. There's like
I still work, bro.
There's a lot of layers. No, I have to tell my truth. And like, I put that in the group message, and I'm not putting too much out of that locker room of ours, but I'm just simply saying this is how I came upon this subreddit. But basically, it's basically women in the office space that post nothing but nude pictures of themselves in their office space. And there's 1 million followers, and there's literally women at work doing seductive poses or taking pictures. You can see their face. If you don't know them, you don't know their name. But it's the name of the group. It's a subreddit called Work Gone Wild. And just go on it. It's porn is what it is. But it's literally women. There's some of them, like I just going through it. There's a woman that was sucking a coworker's dick. It's not porn, but it's mainly just women like basically lifting their shirt. There's a lot going on this subreddit.
Yeah, it's a bunch of weird men on here too, bro.
Oh, I don't see any men. It's literally straight women.
Maybe I'm on the wrong page.
Men on here.
Send me the link because
I'm tired of them like screwing them or getting their dicks sucked.
Send me the link because I just pulled this up and like I'm seeing tits and dicks.
Would you type in Work Gone Wild?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's more dicks than tits, and I'm not gonna keep looking at that.
Well, I don't know what you're looking at. Hold on. I'm about to text you. But either way, and this will, I guess it'll circle back into our Vince McMahon conversation. But basically, I just text because I can't. It's not a link because I'm on the app. But like either way, just make sure you type it in the right way. But because I swear to God, I don't see any. I haven't seen any men on here. That's the thing, and that's what made it so crazy. It's literally.
I see the difference.
Okay,
how
did you type it in then? Because
I typed in Work Gone Wild, but it turned into it was Work Gone Wild SFW.
Nah, Work Gone Wild, brother. And it's no black women either, by the way. That's pretty much, it's exclusively white. maybe a Hispanic here and there or an Indian. I mean, there's a chick showing her whole butthole, bro.
Bro, that's ill. Like, I mean,
no, I get it, but I'm just simply saying it's different women and work professionals. It's chicks in scrubs showing their titties. All I'm saying is this. It's a random thing to kind of run into, but I ran into it, and I couldn't believe that this existed because it literally is common day folk. Like,
hey, can I, like, you're talking about this.
I'm not doing, but I saw it. I just couldn't believe it. Kind of like the Adam 22 news.
Thank you. You just brought me to where I was ready to go. Like, so here's my beef with Adam 22. Dog, how the fuck does he get to be a prominent voice in hip hop culture and he out here doing porn? Like
he's with this girl
and other porn stars, and like, I ain't knocking him.
When Justice said it, that's why I made the joke. I was like, well, somebody watches. But he was dead fucking serious because once I looked it up, I was like, oh, and then Jude put a link up, and I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, they really do only interview for 20 minutes, and like he's like fucking the porn star. Like,
so that's her podcast, but then he has his own jumper shit.
I know, no jumper. I know.
My thing is,
I know, but I've never heard of that other one.
How these gangster rappers going and sitting down with this white boy who is not hip hop? Sorry, if you're white, you're not hip hop. Like, you get to come,
Travis Barker, bro.
You get to you got face tattoos, neck tattoos before that shit was cool, whatever. But like, you out here with your dick all on the internet.
What do you know about my culture, as Dame Dash said,
right?
What do you know about my culture, white boy? And you get
to talk about it as like an authority on it. And you out here doing porn on the internet, bro. Like, you ain't even like an OnlyFans person behind a paywall. Like, nah, bro, you on the hub. Like dudes is jacking off to your girl, then coming to your podcast, bro. Like, nah, dog. If Charlamagne and his wife were on Pornhub, would he get clowned in hip hop?
No.
Shit. I don't think a black man could not be.
Let me tell you why.
A black man could not be a porn star. All right,
let me change my answer. Because what did you say? Did you say clowned?
I said because Charlamagne do the same thing Adam 22 is doing on the porn side and not get clowned for it.
I don't think he would get clowned. He just wouldn't be on the Breakfast Club.
He wouldn't be an authority on black culture and hip hop.
I don't think he would be on the Breakfast Club. I do think that he could do it and be successful. If he's got if he's got a big dick, right? Let's say he's fucking bitches and like he's doing that same shit. I think that it would have its own space and he'd be successful.
I think he could.
I just don't think that he would be on the Breakfast Club because they wouldn't condone it.
I don't think black hip hop community is accepting a black person doing that wild shit.
I agree, but
black culture is way too.
I'm just saying that he not getting knocked out. I don't think that it stops him from making money. Like outside of that fucking aspect.
I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about stature.
But how big is Adam 20? I don't really. I mean, bro. How big is the No Jumper podcast in comparison to the Breakfast Club and other ones? Like, is Academics bigger than him? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out hip hop based.
They're all in the same place.
Joe Budden, are they literally all on the same ratings though? Like who makes the most money doing it?
I can't tell you who.
Like, I don't watch that shit. I know who he is.
So hear me out.
He is like. That's why I didn't even know that he did that shit on this, like with this girl. Like, I had no idea.
No Jumper
said something. Did you know about that before? Wait, did you know about that?
Yes, that's why I asked the question.
Really? When did y'all know about this, bro?
I found out about it this week because Charleston White was talking about Adam.
I never knew that this nigga was fucking porn stars and that he's a porn star, basically a porn star wife.
So I knew he had a
podcast.
So I knew he had a porn star.
How long has this been going on?
I don't know. I knew he had a porn star chick. I didn't know they had the porn star podcast until Charleston White was talking about it. He was like, yeah. No. I can't get with Adam 22 because I mean, come on now, cuz he out here, his girl out here, she a porn star. They doing porn together. You want me to come to your show? You have to let me fuck your girl. I hear she let other niggas fuck her, so you gotta let me fuck her if you want me to come on the show. So he said that. I go, well, who is Adam 22's girl? So then I said, Adam.
See, that's the thing.
So
I Googled
his girl.
Adam 22 was like, because I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, I'm into hip hop media, but I'm not like that. I used to be big into blogs.
I knew that his girl did porn because he's talked about it on some interviews that I've listened to.
I had no idea, man.
But then, like,
I don't know who he is, but like, I don't.
Bro, he got 4.36 million on YouTube. I listened to some of his podcasts, and then like he had Andrew Schultz on, and he asked Andrew Schultz how he felt about the way Joe Budden speaks about him trying to like poach, like use Charlemagne to get like black fans, but then he goes off and says the wild shit that he says. And then, like, they start having this white boy conversation about black people's feelings on a white boy who's utilizing black culture. And I go, bruh, I can't get with this because y'all are visitors in our culture, but the culture have allowed y'all to like be long-term tenants as if y'all feel like y'all own the building and y'all drive this shit and y'all don't, but y'all get love. And it just like that just shit, like all this happened to me in like a span of 30 minutes. I go, bro, why does he get so much love in hip hop culture?
I don't know.
Joe Budden only has 960.
Can you play that video I just sent you, by the way? Because that's my response, like to the Adam 22 thing. Just play it. Now you gotta play it without listening to it first. You gotta put it on the air.
I can't listen to it.
No, because it's nothing bad. It's just my response. Hey, it's a save from Remember the Titans.
Well, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it on the pod so I can
play it.
I didn't know, man. I told you. What you mean you didn't know? You think I was playing with you? He ain't know. He didn't know. He don't want to know.
And I'm Parlay Pete.
You do some crap like that, you better be able to back it.
Yeah, nah, that's really what it is, bro.
I had no, bro. When Justice said that, I went deeper dived into it. I was like, and then when you put up the post, because I didn't even go that deep, he found a clip on Twitter. Like, bro, I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, he really does. Like, nigga, is that not wild to y'all? Like, that's wild to me. Like, right. I get it. That podcast is dedicated to interviewing porn stars. Like, I understand that. But the idea that he's having a threesome and he has his own separate one and it's in rap for the like hip hop as a whole, like, nigga, I was blown away by the idea of this being existing. Like, I really could not comprehend that this existed. It's a great idea. It really is. Like, it's a for a nigga, bro, because are they married? Like, I don't even know if they're married. Like it's a fucking tastic idea. I swear. But they're pretty, like, he's old. He's got to be 35, 37. I mean, like, he's between 35 and 40.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
But it's not anything that
you would think, bro. It's like, if you're married, unless you're just a swinger and that's just your life, all right, all respect. That's just what you want to do.
It's just not acceptable hip hop behavior based on what hip hop stands on.
Or a nigga fuck my.
Huh?
I'm not letting a bitch or a nigga fuck my woman. I don't care. I don't care if it's lesbian shit and I can fuck her too. Like, I don't want to do that. But I just don't want to do that.
Me neither.
It's one thing if it's not my wife and maybe I'm just like down to do it. I'm not letting, if I'm married, like, you're not letting anyone fuck your wife, bro, women or men. Like, you're not okay with that. Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be okay with it. So I don't know if he's married, but like at the same time, that shit is wild as fuck. But they're like on the top. Because I asked too, even me and Justin were in the office because he knew it. I didn't know. I swear to God, this was news to me on Monday. I had no idea that this existed. That's why I sent you that. He didn't know. He's like, Petey, I didn't know. Because I really didn't know, bro. I really did not know that shit even existed. But it's such a good idea, too. Like it's that's why he makes money off of it. Like it's a really good idea. Because most people wouldn't think that you could interview some porn stars and then it's you and your girl and you're fucking them and then it's a porno. Like,
she's a porn star.
Bro, that it ain't through Brazzers. Maybe Pornhub sponsors. I don't know who has the ad space. But what I'm saying is that it's honestly unbelievable that shit even exists, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, the what he's doing with it is amazing. Like the porn side of
but
it.
Did this happen after he was already put? I mean, there's so much backstory.
I don't know the timeline. I just know that I just don't like us giving him a pass as a legitimate voice in our community.
But that solidifies him more. He's fucking bitches on camera, and we know that hip hop loves that. But that's the issue. Why do we love that? That's weird. Is it not weird?
No, hip hop doesn't like it on camera. Hip hop just likes it.
Hip hop likes the idea of it.
Yes, but he's actually doing it, and we're seeing it. We're watching him getting topped off or doing whatever. And hip hop, we don't like that.
Bro, that shit is. When Juice sent the clip, I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like, and not only is it real, but it's like they're promoting it.
Yes.
Like, bro,
and
I don't care what nobody says. That is, if this year doesn't end and something else crazier happens, that's the crazy shit I learned this year. Seriously.
Right, I just know it's anti-black.
I will always remember learning about this and like being like, man, I can't believe that this actually exists.
I can't either, and like I say, it only bothers me because he gets to be one of the loudest voices in hip hop now. Him and Vlad, and they ain't black. Like it just speaks to how much we sell out our own culture to other people to profit off of it. Just like we don't run record labels. You know, we don't run production companies. We have to allow somebody to make money off of our backs for us to make money off of our talents. And
exactly.
And this right here hurts even more because his lifestyle, if somebody black was sitting in his shoes, living his same life, they would not be given the same opportunities to be great. And I think that's why Eminem catches the flack that he catches at, because he's a white boy, he can get away with this stuff. Whereas if he was black, we wouldn't allow that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Lee, I am about to hit a bet.
Oh, what you about to hit? You want to say?
I need a Mexican soccer game in Mexico Liga to hit.
You're a degenerate.
Unless the Mets somehow hit. Well, it'll almost be impossible if this game goes into overtime. But we've been sitting here now, and I've been able to look at it. Let me see. So I could win multiple bets tonight, but one is assured. I have nothing but a Mexican soccer game.
Okay.
And I'm going to win my bet. I bet $500. I'll win $12,000. And that's nice. For the Parlay Pete aspect, it's low.
Yeah, but it's still good money.
Current losing it. Well, I haven't even really been betting baseball, and I can't wait. That's another reason why I'm so pumped about football season. We are gonna get ready to get back into because I feel like we could honestly do 2 different podcasts a week. Now you let me know, but
so there's a conversation that I was planning to have with you soon. With some of the rebranding and stuff that I'm trying to do. And
I know, because you want to get away from the big baby moniker, correct?
Right. I'm going to be AC on the podcast, but making our show the flagship show.
I'm with it, man. Whatever your vision is, I'm going to be about it. So
we'll sit down and talk about it because, like, I really want to, like, because I know your media passion, and I know both of us
Really
have.
and especially if, and not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but like especially if we get into the Atlanta aspect, even if it's an hour show, and we do nothing but Falcon or whatever at the time. I mean, certainly football season, Georgia. We can dip Tech. We can even talk 2 minutes Georgia State and Georgia Southern, whatever. But I of course have always. I mean, I mean, like you, I love being from here. I take passion from being from here, and then, but specifically,
I think I'm going to be living there in 2 years.
Well, man, you know, as of now, at least, I don't have any plans to not be here, so I'll be here too. And even if I'm not, I will still. I mean, my company's here. Even if I were to move somehow, I would be coming here a lot. Like, I mean, my family. It would just depend. But like, of course, I've season tickets. That will never stop me from going to games.
Yeah. So
especially with a flat pass.
So yeah, I know you're not gonna be up that way when I get up there next weekend. But I'm gonna make, because we got to get something done before September.
When are you coming?
I'm coming not this weekend, but next weekend. You'll be in California.
Yeah, man.
But I plan to make a trip because.
Can you make one before the first? Or if you do it, I tell you what.
If we can get that interview done that we were talking about, I'm gonna make a trip for the interview.
Okay, that's fair. We can, and even once we go off, we can talk a little bit before you go to sleep. Like, but yeah, because we do need to talk about that, and we'll talk about that off.
Yeah. We're done.
We want to get off air.
Yeah, we're done. Hey, great podcast. Thanks, Doc.
Absolutely, always.
Yeah, we're going off air to talk about things that